For those of you guys who haven't been watching for a while, I live on my own now, and my house is in this neighborhood, obviously, you know, I don't know why I feel like I need to explain that. My house is in a neighborhood, nah, I own all of Nevada, it's just my house here. Anyways, my house is in a neighborhood, and I don't know how the rumor got out or whatever, but kids in the neighborhood know that I'm scrubby and I live at this house, you know? They are zoned at the same school as my brother, so I don't know if my brother told them, or if they just figured it out, they like saw me outside, I don't know. But some kids figured out that I'm scrubby. So the neighborhood kids know that I'm scrubby, and you know, they'll knock on the door every now and then and make a dumb joke, take a picture, whatever. Like, I don't hang out with the neighborhood kids, but they know that I'm scrubby, they know I'm a YouTuber, and they know that I live here. And most of the parents in the neighborhood know that I live here and that I'm a YouTuber too. I've had pretty cool conversations. Most of the parents are pretty chill, you know, they're like, oh, that's really cool, that's so awesome that you're so successful so young. Like, generally, it's not awkward, nothing's too weird about it. Most of the kids and I are pretty chill. I don't see them often, but when I do, it's like, hey, what's up, how you doing? Nothing too crazy. But there's this one kid in my neighborhood who I'm gonna name Kevin, you know? And Kevin's got it a little bit rough, alright? And Kevin's probably the nerdy kid in the neighborhood who most people don't hang out with, and the only reason I know that is literally every other kid is always outside hanging out, riding bikes, having a good old time, you know, playing Fortnite together, I don't know, probably, but Kevin is always inside, not hanging out with anyone, studying, doing homework, whatever nerdy kids do these days, and the main reason for that, this poor kid is the son of a Karen. Yeah, that's right, guys. This mom has the let me talk to your manager haircut and the attitude to boot. Like, his mom is actually psychotically Karen. I have never met a more Karen person in my entire life. Like, if let me speak to the manager was a person, it would be this kid's mom. And this poor kid has to deal with his mom constantly embarrassing him, constantly yelling at people, constantly making no one want to be friends with him. And I'm sure the kid's not a bad kid, you know, I've only interacted with him once or twice, but growing up with a Karen as a mom has to be arguably one of the roughest childhoods you could ever experience. Like, growing up on the street and homeless is probably better than having to live with a Karen. And just to give you guys an idea of how Karen this guy's mom is, when I first got my house, I parked my car, and they're literally across the street from me, so I've had some interactions with Karen, and she comes outside and asks me if I live here, and I'm like, well, yeah, I just bought the house. And she proceeds to say, no, you didn't, and calls the cops. Yeah, that's right. The cops had to come and verify that I own the house, and it's my house. So, way to go, Karen. Wow, you're so incredible. Called the cops on a kid in front of his own house because he didn't believe it was his. But that's the type of Karen we're dealing with here. That's actually a whole nother story. If this video gets 10K likes within the first day of it being up, I will tell the story of Karen calling the cops on me because it's a saga. But, you know, that Karen is just next level Karenhood. And I guess my brother was talking to Kevin one day at lunch or something, and he mentioned that he's a huge fan of my videos. And my brother kind of told him, well, he lives right by you. And Kevin's like, yeah, I know, I've seen him outside a couple times. My mom called the cops on him. And my brother's like, well, I'm sure he doesn't have any beef with you. He's a pretty chill dude. So, like, you could go knock on his door, like, get a picture with him or whatever. It's no big deal, right? So after school that day, Kevin knocks on my door and he's like, hey, can I take a picture? I'm a big fan. I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. We take a picture. I'm talking to him for maybe like 2 minutes. We were literally, I was asking how his day was. It was just a normal conversation. And his mom pulls up and is like, is there a problem here? And I'm like, oh, no. No. And she's like, Kevin, what are you doing here? And I knew his mom was a Karen, so I didn't snitch, and I wasn't like, hey, I'm a YouTuber, your son watches my videos, because that's not what I wanted. But Kevin goes, oh, he's a YouTuber that I watch all the time, and I don't know, I just really like his videos, so I figured I could come take a picture, because I don't know, I just kind of look up to his channel. And she gives me the dirtiest look, and she's like, don't you think it's weird that this kid knocked on your door because he likes your videos? And I was like, well, yeah, kind of a little bit. Maybe he shouldn't knock on my door. It's not like, what do you want me to do? No, kid, go away. You support my channel and make my dreams reality. Suck it. And slam the door in his face. Like, I'm sorry, Karen. I wasn't going to punch your son in the throat for being a fan of mine. But whatever. The mom kind of like bickers back and forth with me about how I shouldn't answer the door. I don't really know what she was telling me. I shouldn't take pictures with the kids who are my fans. I don't know. Something along the lines of, it's inappropriate for me to take pictures with kids that are my fans, but I don't know. I don't think that's weird. Maybe I'm in the wrong, all right? Maybe I'm in the wrong, whatever. But she kind of like pulls Kevin back to the house, and I'm like, all right, well, Kevin is never going to see me again, whatever. Karen's going to keep being a stupid Karen, you little dumpster diving little baby whore. But whatever. I'm not too pressed. If Karen doesn't like me, Karen doesn't like me. I don't really care. I'm going to keep doing me. But anyways, a couple days later, I get a knock on my door, like a furious pounding of knocks on my door. like an angry knock. Like, I think I might be getting swatted when I'm going to the door. I'm like, great, here we go. The SWAT team's gonna surround me. It's not gonna be a good time. And I open the door, and standing there is a very, very angry looking Karen, and she basically barges into my house, like pushes by me, and just starts yelling. And I'm like, okay, first of all, come on in. You know, the water's fine. Welcome to my humble abode, Karen. It's the same house as yours. Can I help you? So she's screaming, and the first thing out of my mouth are, hello, what is going on? She's like, you need to delete your channel this instant. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she says, I watched some of your vile videos, and I can't believe you tell those stories on the internet. I will get it taken down. You need to take down your channel right this instant. It is not a good role model for Kevin. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm not deleting my channel. It's my job. That's how I make money. And she's like, you need to take it down. It is a bad influence for children. I cannot believe that vile filth is allowed online. And listen, you know, I've said some weird stories on the internet. I don't feel like I've ever said a story time that's vile and disgusting to warrant this type of response. Like, I'm sorry. I feel like my story times are pretty tame. You know, go watch Chanamanju and then come watch me. And I'm like, hey kids, welcome to PBS. You know, I don't feel like I'm that extreme, but whatever. Karen is up in my face yelling at me about how I'm a bad influence and I need to delete my channel. So I explain it again. I'm still calm at this point. I'm like, hey, it's my job. I don't really care what you think. People enjoy it. You're the first parent I've ever had screaming at me to delete my channel because I'm a bad influence. If your kid is doing what I do, then just tell him to stop. You know, you can make him not watch my videos. It's not my fault that you think your kid shouldn't watch them. And she's like, no, you need to take it down. I will call the police. And I'm like, what are the police going to do? The police aren't going to make me delete my channel. And she's like, because I think she realized that the police aren't going to make me delete my YouTube channel. Like, how would that 911 call go? Hey, this is Karen. There's a kid with a YouTube channel that I don't like. I need every video taken down immediately. 911, we need to nuke his channel from the internet. He is a bad influence for children. Yeah, that's right. No joke. One time he said a naughty word and Susan demonetized him. Yep. Oh my gosh. Yeah, send the SWAT team. Let's arrest him immediately. I cannot believe that this kid is a YouTuber. Can you believe it, officer? Absolutely disgusting. Despicable. So she proceeds to tell me, and I quote, I cannot believe such filth is allowed on YouTube. She said it like 90 times at this point, and I will be contacting my lawyer to get your channel taken down. And I'm like, all right, Karen, fine. You know what? Contact your lawyer, sue me. Something tells me anyone with a legal degree is going to be like, you're a moron. You can't get someone sued and get their channel deleted because you don't like their videos. But whatever, Karen's the type of girl to ban D&D because she feel like it's gonna make her kid turn into a devil or whatever. So at this point, she's like, where's your computer? I'll delete it myself. And I'm losing it at this point. This lady's screaming at me saying she's gonna delete my channel. So I say, Karen, get the out. But I didn't blurp it out, all right? I told her to get out. She's like, how dare you swear at a woman? I'll be back. I will call YouTube. I'll call YouTube. And I was like, you know what? If you get a person at YouTube, please let me know because there's a lot of things I need to tell them too. All right, Karen, you stupid whore, dude. Just get out of my house. So whatever. Karen leaves, and I think that's going to be the end of it. But sure enough, the next day, there's another knock on my door, and Karen and her husband are standing there. And the husband's like, hey, can you please delete your channel? It's really making my wife upset. So Karen is obviously standing there like she pulled the trump card. Yes, you know, your husband's gonna magically make me delete my job. You got me. And I kind of tell him, no, you know, it's my livelihood. I explain to him how YouTube works. I explain to him how he can prevent his son from watching my videos. I explain this all to him, and he's like, okay, thank you, I'm sorry. And the husband's being a pretty chill dude. I don't know how him and Karen are married because he's like, yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, we can just prevent him from watching your videos. No, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, this should have been avoided, blah, 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 blah. And as he's slowly kind of jumping onto my side about where I'm like, dude, I'm not going to delete my channel, just make your kid not watch my videos. Karen realizes that she's not winning this and starts freaking out, demanding that I show her husband my vile filth. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I pull up a scrubby video, the main channel videos, and I show him one, and I'm like, yeah, I just kind of make fun of stuff. And he's like, oh, I don't think that's that bad of an influence. And the look on his wife's face when he says he doesn't think it's that bad of an influence is insane. So whatever, she grabs him and yanks him out of the house, and she's like, how dare you? We will get your channel taken down. Yeah, Karen, you're doing a fantastic job trying to get my channel deleted. I am currently shaking in my boots while enjoying Susan demonetizing every video I upload. So the real kicker of this all, I'm sure you're asking, how does Karen somehow get stupider? The next day, there's another knock on my door, and I look out the peephole, and I see Karen running back to her house full speed. So I open the door and there's a letter there, and I open it, and she had written a fake letter as Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, demanding that I delete my channel for disrupting the peace of the neighborhood. Yeah, that's right, Karen. I'm sure you, in the suburbs of Las Vegas, have enough clout to get the CEO of YouTube herself to write me a letter to take down my channel. I don't understand if she thinks I'm a 3-year-old or somebody who can't read, but regardless, Karen, you did a very bad job convincing me to delete my channel. So obviously, I know this letter's a fake. So I just kind of open it, read it on my porch. Oh my gosh, Susan Wojcicki wants me to delete my channel? Oh no! And then I flip off the house and I just go inside and close the door because I'm not playing games anymore. All right, Karen, you can like mess around and play neighborhood police officer all you want. I don't really care. It's whatever. But at the end of the day, the second you start writing fake CEO letters, you just look like a psychotic monkey. But ladies and gentlemen, it somehow gets worse. Yes, that's right. Karen, realizing that her fake letter to me did not get my channel deleted, I was not suddenly moved to tears while simply crying at the fact that I have become a YouTube pariah, and Karen herself wants my channel deleted. No, I didn't care. In fact, I just kind of thought it was funny that this lady was so obsessed with my YouTube channel. So, whatever, she takes to shaming me to get me to delete my channel. She figures that if all the neighborhood turns against me and none of them want their children watching my videos, then somehow I will miraculously have to delete my channel. Yeah, that's right, guys. If everyone in the neighborhood, all 400 people don't like my videos, suddenly my 1.3 million subscriber channel and my second channel with over 100,000 subs immediately brawl into ash. There is nothing that will ever exist again because the neighborhood no longer likes my content. So she makes a Facebook post basically insinuating that I am corrupting the children and that I need to be banned from the neighborhood. Like, yeah, they're gonna make me sell my house because I make YouTube videos. And the comments on Facebook backfire immediately. Like, the other parents in the neighborhood are like, can you leave the poor kid alone? I've watched his videos, they're harmless. Like, please find something to do with your life. It backfires entirely. Everybody else in the neighborhood knows me as like the nice guy who, like, I don't know, I just kind of keep to myself. I don't cause any problems. I don't throw wild parties. My videos are pretty tame as far as everything goes. Like, let's be honest here. The truth of the matter is my videos are really tame compared to a lot of YouTubers. And Karen, I know you're watching this. I hope you understand that I didn't leak your name for a reason. I could have dropped your full name because you're kind of harassing me and I wouldn't have felt bad about it. But I kept it a secret because I don't want your nice husband and your nice kid to suffer for you being a pathetic wench. But whatever, I digress. So here I am on Facebook reading these comments of everybody being like, leave the kid alone. Holy cow, this is like borderline harassment. We don't want to kick him out of the neighborhood. He's a fine neighbor. You know, like, it's not the end of the world. Please just chillax. And Karen starts dropping paragraph responses to each and every one of these people, basically trying to argue with them that the internet should be banned for all kids under the age of 13 because it's corrupting them. Karen is looking like a full-blown psychopath at this point, and everybody just kind of stops replying to the thread. And I've had neighbors come up to me since and be like, I am so sorry about her. The rest of the neighborhood does not feel that way. Like, all of us think your job is cool. You keep to yourself. You're a nice kid. Don't let this crazy woman make you think that the rest of the neighborhood hates you. I promise it's fine. And it's gotten to the point where there was like a neighborhood pool party last week and I got invited and they just invited the husband and the kid and told Karen that she couldn't come. Like, that's how unpopular Karen has made herself with the neighborhood over the fact that a YouTuber just happens to live a couple houses down. So Karen, way to go. 500 IQ play. You made your neighbors hate you. Today we're going to be telling a story about animals. There was a kid in my 7th grade science class, that 8-hour class pet. In 7th grade, we have to take biology in my state, which is pretty cool, I guess, if you like learning about life like a nerd. Not me. I'm a total savage. I punch my science teacher in the face. On a real note, though, you do have to take biology in 7th grade in my state, and because of that, our teacher really wanted to make it fun, you know? He had a bunch of fish around the classroom. We had chinchillas. We just had a lot of animals that our class had to take care of. The stipulation was we had to feed them and take care of them, but for the most part, it was pretty cool, you know? We got to pet a chinchilla and look at fish. Like, it was a pretty cool classroom, I guess. And most kids were pretty normal and definitely never looked at those goldfish and thought, Those look delicious. Never, ever, ever had a chinchilla churro, a snake empanada, whatever you were thinking about eating animals, just don't do it. Most people don't have to be told that. Most people don't have to be told not to eat the class pet, but there was one kid in my class that I guess didn't get the memo, because one day we're in our lab groups, and our lab groups were randomly assigned, and we had to do this biology report, and we had to go from cage to cage for the animals and write down the characteristics of the animal. We were in 7th grade, we were pretty dumb, so we had to be like, fishes swim! You know, normal stuff that you have to write down in a science class, I guess. I don't really know, alright? I don't know why it was the assignment, that was what it was. And I'm with this really, really weird kid who, for the purpose of the story, is going to be named Davis. And Davis, you know, wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. Davis, I don't know how he got into an honors biology class because I don't think even he knew what was going on. Like, he was the type of guy who would look at a cat and be like, that's a weird shaped dog. Like, that's the type of dude Davis was, alright? But regardless, I was in this group with Davis and a few of my friends, and we were at the goldfish writing down our observations, and he says, I've always wondered what goldfish tastes like, which is just a weird statement, you know? I've never once looked at a pet and been like, I wonder what it tastes like. Never been chilling at the pet shop going, oh, do you guys have any Yorkie? It tastes way better than Beagle, you know? That's just not my personal cup of tea, but I guess Davis was really curious about the taste of this goldfish. And I thought it was weird, but I just brushed it off because I never thought anyone would be weird enough to eat a class pet. It's not something you experience on a day-to-day basis. So, anyways, I guess Davis thought we were friends after we were in the science group because I'm just not going to be mean to some random kid in my science class. Like, I wasn't going to bully him and be like, haha, you're the weird kid that wants to eat a goldfish. So every day before class, he would just walk up to me and talk to me, and we ended up having a couple video games we played in common. We would just talk about that, and he was definitely weird. Like, we both really played GTA, and he would go on and on about specific, like, stats for each car, and I was like, all right, dude, whatever. Like, I'm trying to learn biology. That's really cool, Davis. I'm glad you think we're homies, but, you still want to eat a goldfish. We're not like homies, you know? But regardless, every day before class, he was walking up to me and trying to have these really long, in-depth conversations. And every time he'd be like, man, one of these days I'm going to eat the goldfish. And I would just kind of laugh it off and be like, it's one of those weird jokes that people repeat. It's a repeating joke. It's like me being like, ah, I'm cool, you know? It's just a funny thing that you say over and over again because you really hope it's true. So whatever, I keep doing my thing, going about my day in biology class. And one day, before we really get started, Davis walks in, looks me in the eyes and says, today's the day, walks over to the fish tank, grabs the goldfish with his bare, nasty burrito-looking hands, and pops it in his mouth and just swallows. Doesn't even chew, just swallows, and then opens his mouth and there's no fish there. And the entire class is looking at him and it's just silent. Like, you could hear a pin drop because nobody expected this weird ass kid to walk into the cut, eat a goldfish, and just act like nothing happened. And instead of being like, oh my god, I just ate a goldfish, or any reaction, any emotions whatsoever, Davis, this weird kid, just goes to his seat and sits down. No questions asked. Doesn't react, doesn't smile, doesn't laugh, nothing. Just swallows this goldfish whole and goes down. And I'm promising you, this was not the snack that smiled back. This was a real goldfish. 30 seconds ago, it was swimming around and now it's in Davis's stomach, and I promise you that Nemo is never gonna find his dad from there. Anyways, so Nemo just got chewed up. Davis is sitting there, and the teacher walks in and is like, wow, why do you guys all look like you've seen a ghost? Haha, who's ready to start class? And this one girl, who was a snitch-ass bitch, but regardless, it needed to be snitched on, raises her hand and goes, Davis just ate the goldfish. And our teacher's like, what? Like, are you guys kidding? Like, what do you mean? And she goes, no, like, Davis ate the goldfish. And people start chiming in, yeah, he just put his hand in the tank and ate it, like, just swallowed it. The teacher doesn't believe us, walks over to the tank, and sure enough, there's no goldfish. The goldfish is gone. Rest in peace, Swimmy, 2012, I don't know, and is like, Davis, did you eat the goldfish? And Davis goes, yeah, I did. Why did you eat the goldfish? And he's like, well, I don't know, I thought it would be funny. And the teacher's just like, I've never, what? And he goes, well, I'm gonna have to send you to the dean's office. And Davis is like, oh, okay, no problem. Doesn't complain, doesn't cry, doesn't get scared of being in trouble, just gets up and goes to the dean's office, right? Super calm about the entire thing. Definitely might be a sociopath because no one should be that calm about eating a goldfish, but regardless, he got some really fresh sushi out of it, I guess. Well, I don't see Davis for the rest of the week at school. I don't know where he's been. I don't see him for the rest of the week. However, 2 days after I haven't seen Davis, I get a note given to me in math class saying go to the dean's office, and I'm like, all right, well, I haven't done anything wrong, I haven't been selling gum, you know, I'm just living my life, I'm a free man, I haven't done anything, I haven't committed any crimes, whatever. I go to the dean's office, they're like, we just have some questions about the fish incident, and I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, some questions about the fish incident. I'm like, the kid who ate the fish? And they're like, yeah. So, whatever, I'm like, yeah, ask away. And they go, well, the kid who ate the fish, you know, we're gonna keep his identity a secret. I'm like, I know who it is. You don't think the entire school is talking about this weird kid who ate the goldfish? Alright, dean's office, whatever. Is saying that you told him to do it. Like, you were telling him to eat the goldfish and were egging him on. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, well, were you telling him to eat the goldfish? I was like, no, I never told him to, eat Finding Nemo, okay? He would come in every day and make like a joke about eating the goldfish, and I would just laugh because I thought he was kidding. And they're like, oh, well, your laughing encouraged him. I'm like, no, Dean's office. If you are gonna blame me for laughing at a kid saying he's gonna eat a goldfish because he actually ate the goldfish because I laughed, you guys are insane. Like, that's not how this works. How in the world am I expected to understand that this kid's like mentally unhinged and is gonna eat a goldfish? You guys are actually trying to blame me for this kid eating a goldfish. And they're like, yeah, well, I don't know, he feels like you egged him on, like you were encouraging him and his parents think you encouraged him. All right, it's not my fault. Your kid is so weird. He feels the need to snack on a goldfish in the middle of biology class, all right? There was a lot more issues if I was encouraging him, but I wasn't. So whatever, I'm like, I didn't tell him to eat the goldfish. I would laugh at it every day. Like, that was it. And the dean's like, well, maybe you shouldn't laugh at stuff like that in the future. I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, dude. Sorry for laughing at a kid saying he wants to eat a goldfish. My bad. I'll never laugh at anything funny again. Especially your ugly ass hairline, bro. You're like 57 years old and you're so bald I can literally see my reflection in your chrome dome, Mr. Dean. Whatever. I was a little salty. I still am. Mr. Maxwell, if you're watching this, you still a hoe for getting me in trouble for selling gum. And on top of that, accusing me of somehow making a kid eat a goldfish. So whatever, I start getting defensive and they're like, whoa, why are you getting so defensive? You have nothing to hide. I'm like, because I didn't make a kid eat a goldfish. So finally, after like 30 minutes of asking me if I'm sure I didn't make the kid eat a goldfish, as if my answer's magically gonna change. Like halfway through questioning, I'm gonna be like, yeah, you know what? I did tell him that I really just wanted him to eat a goldfish. They finally say, whatever, you can go back to class, but like, we're keeping an eye on you. All right, what are you gonna keep an eye on? You should have kept a better eye on the pets. Maybe we wouldn't have had this problem if homeboy couldn't have such easy access to the goldfish in the first place. So regardless, I never got in trouble, I guess, outside of that weird interview thing for making this kid eat the goldfish. But of course, rumors start to spread. Now everyone thinks I had something to do with it. Like, they actually think that I, of course, had something somehow to do with this goldfish eating thing. So now I'm starting to get crap. So I'm mad now. So I go back to the dean's office. I'm like, look, you guys already made like my life terrible. I didn't have nothing to do with the goldfish. Like, is there anything you can do to tell people that I had nothing to do with this? And the dean's office is like, no, we can't reveal stuff about student matters. I'm like, well, maybe your students should matter a little bit more, all right? People think I had something to do with a psychopath eating a goldfish when I had nothing to do with it. But whatever. So the principal, I call the kid a psycho, and the principal's like, no, he's not a psycho. We're working with him. He's at a mental health facility right now trying to get help. I'm like, yeah, the help should have happened before he ate the goldfish. I don't know why I have to suffer because this kid ate a goldfish. Why am I being punished? Why am I, like, what? How is this my fault? Maybe your students shouldn't eat goldfish. So I'm heated. I'm mad at this point, and they keep insinuating that because I'm getting mad I have something to hide. I'm like, no, I just don't want to be accused of having anything to do with this. But whatever, a few weeks later, finally, Davis comes back to class. I don't know how he's still in the same class. I don't know how they thought he was ready to come back to school, because the first thing he does when he walks in the door is walk up to me and go, I'm really mad that you made me eat that goldfish, bro. And I'm like, are you so delusional? Are you so insane that you actually think I made you eat this goldfish, right? I'm heated at this point. I'm like, I had nothing to do with that. You would come in every day and be like, I'm gonna eat the goldfish. You're the crazy person that had that idea. I just laughed, bro. I will never laugh at anything you say ever again, outside of the fact that you are absolutely a psychopath. And he's like, my therapist said you try to pin the blame on me. I'm like, well, duh, because you ate the goldfish, bro. Your therapist is correct. Yes, I'm going to blame you for you making a bad decision and then trying to blame it on me. And my science teacher at this point is hearing me yelling, because I am yelling. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't calm. I wasn't cool. I was pissed. I'm yelling at this kid for trying to blame me for him eating a goldfish. So finally, they sent us both to the dean's office. The dean's like, if there's going to be a problem, we're going to have to separate you two. I'm like, yes, please separate me from this kid, please. So they're like, well, we're going to move you out of the science class. I'm like, that's fine. That's totally okay. Just get me away from Goldfish McGeezak over here who's snacking on Nemo like it's an Olympic sport. So they moved me out of that biology class, put me in a new one. It ends up working out really well because that is when I met the girl that I ended up like run in the tunnel with that fell. So I got some good stories out of it. It was the first girlfriend I ever had. It worked out in the long run. However, at the time, I had to leave the class because I was apparently harassing him, the kid who ate the goldfish, and was trying to blame it all on me. But regardless, guys, that's the story of the kid who ate the class pet. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did and you enjoy my suffering, press the like button, please, because I'm very heated telling this story like 8 years later because I'm still mad that I somehow got blamed for the kid eating a goldfish. And it wasn't the last time I had to deal with this asshole eating something, alright? One day I get up from lunch to go get a water and I come back and my lunch is gone and they're like, yeah, some kid took it. And I asked him to describe him and I go over and Davis had taken my lunch and was eating my food! Davis, if you're watching this, I hate you, bro. You're a compulsive eater, alright? I need you to like get some help or something because holy cow, you're just so psychotic. No one should steal another man's food. So for you people who don't know who Karen is, she's my neighbor who basically is the definition of a bored soccer mom. May I speak to your manager, haircut having person, all right? Like, if we were at the Area 51 raid, she would walk up to the guards and ask to speak to their manager just to try to get in. Like, she's a very entitled soccer mom who has nothing better to do than to complain about what everybody else is doing, you know? And I told stories earlier this week about how she wants to get my channel deleted and also told me that I don't live in my house. Like, she was trying to get me and arrested and called the cops on me for coming home. Like, I don't really know what Karen was doing. But regardless, Karen just has a knack for not being able to keep her nose in her own business, you know? And obviously, she is the #1 scrubby fan on the universe because for some reason, even though she hates my channel and wants it deleted, she wants post notifications on. Like, she watches every video, which is honestly hilarious to me. Like, here's this 37-year-old woman who hates my guts, wants me evicted from my house and wants my channel deleted, but she also loves me enough to keep notifications on for me. Like, Karen, I know you're watching this. Big shout out to you for being the #1 scrubby fan on the planet. And anyways, I made 2 videos about her earlier this week, and I knew she was gonna be pissed because that's just the type of person she is. So obviously, after posting them, I was just waiting for the backlash to happen. And this morning, July 19th, 2019, I woke up to banging on my door. And not like a calm knocking, but Karen knocking. I described it earlier, you know. It sounds a little bit like meteors pounding on your door while screaming like a banshee something about deleting your YouTube channel. Like, that's just what I woke up to. So I hear this pounding on my door and I try to ignore it and just like go about my business because I knew it was Karen and I really didn't want to deal with Karen's crap today. You know, I wanted a nice relaxing day, play some Fortnite with the boys, but she kept knocking for 20 minutes. I'm not even kidding. This woman has so little to do in her life that she spent 20 minutes pounding on my door and screaming. And at this point, my dogs were starting to get scared. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I got to deal with Karen because you can mess with me all you want, but if you make my dog scared, we're gonna have a problem here. So I go to the door and I open it, and sure enough, Karen is standing there, beat red in the face, and the first words out of her mouth are, "You need to open your door faster." Which, first of all, Karen, I'm not sure if you know this, but I don't want to talk to you, you know? And second of all, I don't have to do anything, you stupid idiot. Like, I understand you're a soccer mom and you got nothing going on, so you answer the door really quickly, but maybe people just don't want to interact with you, alright? Like, I'm sorry, I don't owe you a thing. I don't have to answer my door faster just because some lazy soccer mom who wants to get me evicted from my house is really mad at me. But whatever, that's the opening note. So very clearly, Karen is in an incredible mood. Everybody can tell that she is ready to have a normal, civil conversation and we maturely discuss the YouTube videos, right? Nah, there wouldn't be a story time if Karen wasn't insane. So after she tells me to open my door faster, I just look at her and say, "Can I help you, Karen?" And she basically says that I need to take those videos down immediately because I'm slandering her good name in this neighborhood. Which, 2 things. First of all, you don't have a good name in this neighborhood because nobody likes you. Like, everyone knows you're a crazy person. But anyways, I also do this thing on my channel, I don't know if you guys have noticed it, where I don't say people's real names. And there's a very specific reason for that we're about to get into. So I look at her and say, "Karen, what videos are you talking about?" And she says, "The videos about what I did to you, about your channel, and the police." Like, I get it. I might have been wrong to call the police on your house, but I do stand by what I said about you being a bad influence for children. Which, you know, way to get me to do what you want by, you know, basically not backing down on anything. What a humble person, Karen. But anyways, I just look at her and I say, "Karen, I haven't posted a video about you. I don't know what you're talking about." And the look on her face is beet red. And she's like, "Yes, you did. Here's the 2. And she pulls them up and plays them. And I'm like, "Yeah, I know what videos you're talking about, but when did I say your name? When did I say it was about you?" And at this point, the look on her face becomes very clear and she's realizing what I'm saying. And she's like, "Well, I know they're about me and I want them deleted immediately." Well, Karen, get dabbed on. I just defaulted danced on your entire argument because, Here's the shocking truth. I never said your name. You can't prove that they're about you unless you're admitting that you're a crazy person, in which case you're admitting that you harassed me and tried to get me kicked out of my house and called the cops for no reason. So you know what, Karen? If you're listening to this, go ahead. Admit that they're about you. Confirm it. But that just means that you're guilty of everything too. As of right now, I'm not gonna go to the cops. I'm not gonna do anything because honestly, I'm fine with you making a fool of yourself. And as for you, you really don't have any ground to stand on because I'm not talking about you. This is a completely unrelated Karen. I know you're watching. So once Karen realizes that she really can't get my videos deleted easily because I didn't say her name or say it was about her specifically, she starts causing a scene and is basically standing in my front yard screaming. So I start laughing at this point, and of course, Karen immediately does the classic, "Oh, you think a woman in distress is so funny?" And I'm like, "No, I just think you're throwing a temper tantrum in a 20-year-old kid's front lawn because he made a YouTube video about something that might possibly, maybe, have a semblance to something you've done." So she's standing in my front lawn making a fool out of herself, screaming like an absolute idiot. And what I don't understand, Karen, like I said, I know you're watching this, so I just have a question for you. Why do you do this to yourself? Like, the only way I'm gonna keep making these videos about a similar character named Karen is if you keep acting like a moron. If you just left it alone, I wouldn't have anything to make fun of. But every time you come to my house and yell at me and tell me to delete my videos or throw a temper tantrum in my front lawn, all you're giving me is more content to make fun of you for. Like, don't you understand that you should just stay away if you really hate my videos that much? Because all it's gonna do is make you look like an idiot? That might be giving Karen too much credit, alright? She's probably not smart enough to think it through that far ahead. So like I said, Karen is freaking out in my front lawn and I'm laughing and she's mad that I'm laughing. So the next words out of her mouth are, "Well, you know we have neighbors that are lawyers, right?" And I don't think Karen understood what I said when I said, "You can't actually sue me for anything I've done." But beyond that, what I don't even understand even more is this. Okay, Karen, let's say that you spend all your money to sue me, right? You're forgetting that you harassed me, which means I can just bring that up too. Like, you don't just get out of jail free card because I made a YouTube video that might maybe be about you. I'm not confirming it's about you, Karen. So whatever, I look at her and I'm like, all right, then feel free to go get our lawyer neighbor and come back when he's here because you don't have any legal ground to stand on. So you know what, Karen, if you're gonna throw around threatening lawsuits, that's fine. I'll be here. If you need anything, let me know. And I close my door, which obviously makes her more upset because now I'm ignoring her having her temper tantrum and just going about my day. So obviously that doesn't make her too happy. So about 5 minutes later, I hear another knock on my door, and this time it's Commerce. So I answer, and it's one of our neighbors who lives on our street, and it is the lawyer neighbor. So I just kind of am like, "Hey, dude." And he's like, "So can I talk to you for a second?" I say, "Yeah." He says, "Can I come in?" "Sure." So the lawyer guy comes in and he's like, "Apparently you've been harassing Karen and making YouTube videos about her." And so I explained to him the situation because Karen basically lied to this guy and said I like leaked her address and told my fans to harass her, which is just not true. Like, if anything, I said specifically in a story the other day, I don't ever want you guys to go after anyone I ever talk about, ever. Like, I really never want that to happen. That's not the point of these stories. So he basically asked me what's going on, so I tell him everything, I show him the videos, and he's like, "Well, you never said her name or that it was about this specific person." And I was like, "Exactly. So technically I didn't do anything wrong, right?" And he's like, "Well, I mean, it is America, so people can kind of sue for whatever, but I don't see much of a legal footing for her to be on." Karen actually went to a lawyer and was asking him about if she could sue me, lying about what actually happened. So at this point, I'm pretty ticked off with Karen. So I basically ask him if I have any grounds for a restraining order or something. And he's like, "Well, I mean, yeah, but that would be really hard because she's your neighbor." And I was like, "Yeah, that's fair. She just won't leave me alone." And he's like, "Yeah, I know." So obviously, I'm like, this is weird. I don't know what's happening. So the lawyer guy leaves, and about 15 minutes later, I get another knock on my door. Keep in mind, normally I might have like 2 or 3 people knock my door a week, but at this point, I've had 3 people in the last 4 hours. So I'm not too pleased about this situation. And it's Karen, and she has this smug look on her face, and she says, "Well, I just contacted my lawyer, and it looks like we have plenty of grounds to sue you, so I'll see you in court." And I looked at her and I said, "Karen, I'm filing a restraining order on you, so you might want to be very careful about ever crossing the street again." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And so I explained to her that at this point, I have more than enough to file for like harassment and that I can get a restraining order. And that would basically mean that she would have to stay on her side of the road. So if she ever drove down her side of the road in my car and I saw I could call the police and get her arrested. And she's like, "Well, that's not fair." And I said, "You're right, but I mean, if you're going to be suing me, I don't want to ever have the danger of you coming to my house or doing anything." And at this point, she kind of picks up what I'm putting down and is like, "Fine, I won't sue you, but I better not see any more videos about me on your channel. Do you understand, young man?" And I looked at her and said, "I understand what you're saying, Karen. Have a good day." Because I did understand what she was saying. I just didn't promise that I wasn't going to make any more videos about it. So yeah, that was my morning with Karen. You know, She's sued me or threatened to sue me twice. I'm pretty sure she probably lied to her lawyer about what was going on too. My lawyer friend basically told me I could hit her for harassment. Well, he's not my friend, he's my neighbor. And yeah, Karen, you are a psychopath. Please leave me alone. Like, if you leave me alone and stop bothering me, the videos are gonna stop. But every time you do something to make yourself look like a crazy person, I'm gonna make a video about it, and I'm gonna get paid to make fun of you. Like, is that really what you want? Regardless, that's the situation at hand, guys. I will keep you guys updated. I really didn't expect her to come at me this hard for the videos. I thought she was just gonna complain and, like, post on Facebook, but, apparently I really hit a nerve. I don't know. It's all this attention she ordered. All the attention she was complaining about wanting to have, I finally gave to her, so I don't know why she's so upset. But either way, hopefully you guys are on my side here. My only question is, like, what am I supposed to do here, dog? This is my neighborhood. Am I supposed to just not go outside anymore? Like, Karen is a psychopath. I'm scared. Like I've said, when I was in high school, I worked for a giant corporate chain of grocery stores. It's a very well-known store. They're basically everywhere. And I don't have any bad beef with the company or anything. I'll still get my groceries there sometimes. But whenever you're dealing with a massive company, what you have to understand is managers suck. Managers, for whatever reason, for giant corporations are just like whatever turd was the most polished whenever they needed somebody new, so they got moved up. I have never had worse bosses than when I've worked for corporate chain. And the managers at this store were no different. There was basically like 2 or 3 managers I got along with, but like 8 managers, and most of them were crazy. But there was one lady in particular who was like the manager of our managers. She would only come into the store maybe once a week, and she really didn't like me. She didn't like me because she would come in normal clothes, and I didn't know who she was when I had first started. And one day she asked me to get her a water, and I told her what aisle they were on, and I guess she took that as an insult and had it out for me ever since. And we're gonna name her Margaret for this story because I'm not trying to get sued for what she ended up doing. But Margaret just really did not like me. And at the time, I was only 16, 17 years old, so I wasn't exactly like an adult. Legally in the United States, 18 is the age of being an adult. And when you're not an adult in the state of Nevada, you're not allowed to work past 11 p.m. on work days due to the laws involving school or whatever. It is literally illegal for people to schedule you past 11 p.m. if you're under the age of 18. That's just how the rules work. I don't make them. It's kind of stupid, but whatever. And this Margaret lady hated me, and almost immediately after I accidentally told her what aisle the water is on, as if that's a crime. Like, even if I knew who this lady was, it's not my job to go fetch her water whenever she wants. I'm not your slave, okay? I'm here to bag groceries. I'm only a slave for the people that are buying them, all right? Everybody else can get their own water. Real talk, I just didn't know, but she hated me, and almost immediately after that happened, she starts scheduling me on nights. I would have to start work at 11 p.m., and I would get off at 3 a.m. That was when I was supposed to be working. Only problem is, I'm a 16-year-old kid who goes to school. And my parents definitely, like, took school kind of seriously. They would not have been cool with me working at 11 p.m. So after I realize that I'm getting put on this, like, ridiculous night shift, I go into Margaret's office and I'm basically like, hey, you know, I have school. I can't really work from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. And she looks at me and she smiles with that, like, shitty, oh, that's so sad, but I'm not actually sad grin that only white women can do. Like, I don't know what it is about white women, why they are genetically predispositioned to have just the nastiest facial expressions ever. But she hits me with it and goes, oh, well, I'm so sorry. That's the only hours we have available for baggers. So, you know, if you want to quit, I guess that's just something that you need to do. And, like, winks her eyes at me and smiles. And it's at this point I realize that this manager of managers is deadass trying to get me to quit. She does not want me to work here. She doesn't like me so much that she has now taken to scheduling a child to work in the middle of the night in the hopes that I'll quit because I'll have school. And at the time, I didn't know this was illegal. I thought this was perfectly fine. I only found out it was illegal, you'll hear at the end of this story. So I'm like, well, crap, I want the job, but my parents were not going to let me work nights. So I basically decided to do what any good kid would do, and I sneak out of the house at 10:30 and go to work my night night shifts whenever I was scheduled. And at first I thought I was gonna hate the night shift. Most kids sneak out to like go to parties and get effed up and get girls pregnant. No, not me. I was sneaking out to go to my job. So at first I thought I was gonna hate the night shift because I'm like, great, I'm gonna be stuck with a bunch of weird people that work nights with some crappy manager. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, if you ever have a choice, the night shift is cool as hell. First of all, the manager on the night shift was this dude named Julian. Coolest dude ever. Literally did not care. As long as the job got done and he wouldn't get in trouble the next morning, he didn't care if you listened to music. He didn't care if you sang and danced while you were doing your job. As long as it got done, he didn't care, which is the ultimate way to do it. Like, it's just the best thing ever, mainly because it really shouldn't matter. If my job is to collect all the carts in the parking lot, why does it matter if I'm listening to music while I do it? And also, if I'm collecting carts in the middle of the dark parking lot, please let me do it with music on, alright? It's horrifying out here. The first night I had to go collect every cart in the parking lot. This massive, massive shopping center parking lot. At midnight, and it wasn't in the best neighborhood, so I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was gonna get jumped, but it ended up being pretty safe. There was a security guard in the parking lot that I found out about. That was never an issue. But Julian was a super cool dude, and after I got done with all the carts, there wasn't much to do, because as a bagger, they don't do cashier checkouts at night. You have to do self-checkout, so there's nothing to bag. So I go to Julian, and I'm like, look, it's midnight, I've been here for an hour, what do you want me to do? What can I go do? And he looks at me and he's like, oh, just go to the back room and hang out with Raj. He needs help stalking. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. So I didn't know who Raj was at the time, but I go to the back room and I walk in and there's like this 21-year-old Indian kid standing there. And he looks at me and he's like, oh, you're new. And I say, yeah, I'm Ryan. I'm a bagger. Da-da-da-da-da. I pissed off Margaret and she scheduled me on the night shift. And he's like, hey, that's how I started here. I used to be a bagger that got put on the night shift, and now I'm in charge of receiving items at night and like organizing them and stocking. Which, you know, pretty cool. A fellow person that is hated by Margaret and got stuck on the crappy shift. We should get along great. We've got a lot in common. We're clearly bros. And that first night where Raj and I hang out, you ever just get to know somebody and you're just bros right off the bat? Like the first time you high five, you know, you just get that bro energy going. Me and him got a bromance going, you know. We were like best friends and we still talk all the time. I was literally playing video games with him before we recorded this. He doesn't work there anymore. Don't worry, we're getting there. So, basically, me and this dude would just have a great time. We were best friends. We would go into the back room after I would take care of the carts at work, and I would basically just goof off the entire time. We would get some of the disability carts because they weren't being used at night, and we would race them around the back room when the stock would get there, so it'd be like a little racetrack. We would have a great time. We would just goof off. We would tell jokes. It was always fun. It got to the point where I would be hyped to go to work because I was like, man, after I take care of the carts, it's gonna be great. I'm just gonna hang out with Raj. And as much as we would goof off, our work always got done. In fact, we would usually get done with the receiving and organizing and sometimes even the stocking by like 1 in the morning, and we would have just 2 hours to goof off and do whatever because we were done until the next orders got there, or I would leave and then he would have to take care of the next set of orders that would come in. We were so efficient that we had 2 hours to goof off at work as best friends, and that's just a good way to work. And Julian didn't mind when we would goof off. He would walk in and catch us doing dumb stuff, you know. We had like a Nerf basketball hoop set up, and whenever people were on break, they would come in and play. It was just a good time, and Julian didn't care because the work got done ahead of schedule. Like, it was done faster than he expected it to be done, so he didn't care what we did. He didn't ask questions. And for about a month, I'm like sneaking out of my house and going to work 2-3 times a week, and I eventually straight up started asking to get scheduled more, you know? My parents, thankfully, are kind of boomers, I'm not gonna lie, so they were asleep pretty early. It was never hard for them to be out by like 10:30 when I would leave, and they didn't really check on me before I would get back at 3 in the morning, so I was pretty good. The only thing that was really suffering was my sleep schedule, because basically I would come home from work at 3 in the morning, do my homework, go to school at like 6:30, come home at 1, sleep until like 10 p.m., eat dinner. Like, my sleep schedule was wrecked. Thankfully, my parents just bought the excuse, oh, I'm a teenager, I just need to sleep a lot. It was wrecking my schedule, but I started working like 5 nights a week on nights with Raj, just goofing off in the back room. Every night he would work, I would work, and we just had a good time. And it was always Julian as the manager. He was the only manager that liked being on the night shift. And everything was cool. It was the perfect system. Everybody who worked nights was pretty cool. We would goof off. We had a Nerf basketball tournament. We would race the carts. It was a great time. Some of the best memories I've ever had working a job happened while working nights for this grocery store. And everything's perfect up until the Fire Nation attacks. And the Fire Nation attacks, like a month and a half into me working the nights and having a great time doing it. So Julian, the manager, had the 3-strike rule, and it was his own personal philosophy. A lot of managers say the customer is always right. It's our job to please the customer. That's the only one that matters. And Julian had a 3-strike rule that basically worked like this. You had to be nice to somebody, being apparently rude to you, 3 times before you could be mean back. And if they said anything nice, the strikes reset. So if somebody said, "You're an idiot," and then apologized, it would reset. But if somebody said 3 mean things in a row, he felt like you were good to be mean back. And when you work nights at a grocery store, the people that come in at night aren't always, the most quiet, classy people in the universe. A good majority of the time, they're the crackheads that also need to get groceries. I'm sorry, I'm sure a lot of you are normal. If you're typing right now, "Hey, I shop at nights and I'm normal," you're probably normal. You are not the people that I'm talking about. But, I live in Las Vegas. There's a high crackhead population. Occasionally, they wander into a grocery store or two. So this would have to come into effect every now and then. Somebody would come in and get mouthy, and angry crackheads don't really listen to, "I'm so sorry that you had a concern. Can I please find a way to make this right?" No, you need to say, "Get out, you crazy crackhead." That's the only way to get them to listen. So the people on the night crowd were, for the most part, really nice. Some of the nicest customers I ever had would also come in at night, and, they were great. They were kind. You would help them find their stuff. They would thank you. They'd be on their way. It's just when they were bad when you worked nights, they were really bad. And not in like the Karen way where they're going to complain and get coupons, but in like, "Oh, hey, somebody needs to clean the bathroom because some crackhead just went in there and pooped on every wall." And the people that would make returns at night were usually even worse, because it would be people who had stolen things earlier in the day to try to return it for cash. It happened all the time. So our manager Julian is dealing with this blonde lady who is coming in at like 2:30 in the morning to return a cart full of meat that she had taken and forgotten to refrigerate in her house, and it was supposed to be his fault and to give her a refund. Let me put that in perspective. You bought a shopping cart full of meat and didn't bring it inside and put it in the fridge, and you want a refund. You want a small brain refund? Is that what that is? You don't have the brain cells to realize that things need to be refrigerated and that's our fault? The company has to take a loss because you can't think? I don't understand how some people really feel like they deserve a refund some of the time. Like, people would deadass return half-eaten cakes and have the nerve to say, "I didn't like it." Oh, you didn't like it, Becky? Then why the hell did you eat half of it before you noticed, you diabetic weasel? That got very personal. All right, I had a bad interaction with the half-eaten cake one time, but you guys get the idea. So this lady is trying to return this cart full of meat that has left the store, which we don't know what she did to the meat. She could have injected cyanide into it for all we know. We don't know, and it's expired. So my manager is like, "No," and she begins to get irate, as old people do when you tell them no. She repeatedly tells my manager to get out of this country, even though he was born here. Says a bunch of other very nasty words that I'm not going to repeat because I'd like this video to stay monetized, and is overall being as horrible as you can be as a customer. I understand sometimes people are having a bad day. They're going to get irritated when you say no. It's another thing to insult somebody like that. And my manager loses it and tells her that she's a trashy bimbo and to get out of his store and never come back. Which, yes, is it very bad that he said that? 100%. I get why he said it. I know someone in the comments going to say, whatever, he deserves what happens next. I don't think so, because he was a great manager. The work got done, and you can ask a lot of people who work in the grocery store getting a good night crew is very difficult, and he had a great one on his hands. It was great. And since it's a return, it happens in this booth. And we did probably maybe 100 returns at night over the span of a shift and never had any problems at all. But I guess Margaret had decided that things were going too good on the night shift because she randomly decided to pick a review from last night to make sure our customer service was up to par. And so we get called into the office at 11 p.m. as soon as I get there the next day, and she's there, and it's me, Raj, and Julian, because I had happened to have been in the front of the store when I was like sweeping the aisles when this interaction happened. And basically we had this like POS system in the front of the store, and I would have to log whenever I was doing a sweep of the store, and I would start from right there, and it just happened to be right by the customer service booth. So I had heard the tail end of the conversation, and Raj had been called in. I don't know why. Maybe because he's the only other like manager person there that's actually kind of in charge of the store, like he actually has power. I don't know, but it's us three in there. And Margaret starts playing this recording, and the insults from the lady are gone, and it's just Julian screaming at this customer. That's what it looks like. The original insults are gone. They're not there. And she's basically like, who do you think you are? You know, I don't understand how you thought you were going to get away with this. I'm suspending you for a week, and we'll discuss the possibility of you coming back as a cashier, but you're lucky if you even get to keep your job. And he's like trying to explain that the lady was insulting him. And Margaret says, don't tell me what my sister was like. I know her. And we put the pieces together. The lady that had come in and done this is Margaret's sister, which is why the recording got randomly selected after all the times that we did return. It had never happened before in the month and a half I'm there, but it randomly happens, and it's edited where the insults are taken out so that way he looks bad. So Margaret's just being spiteful and getting rid of a great manager that ran the store well because, I don't know, her sister apparently is too stupid to figure out the concepts of refrigerators. I'm still not too clear on what we did wrong, but, you know, that's how it is sometimes. Crappy managers ruin things. That's just what they do. If you own a company, having a good manager is probably the most important part. Like, if you don't have that, it's going downhill, but whatever. And she looks at me and Raj, and she's like, I wanted you in here because what did you hear? And so I'm not stupid. Julian's already fired, you know, and he kind of like gives me the look that it's cool. So I kind of explain that he was yelling because I'm not trying to lose my job, all right? Like, I'm not. And he's cool with it, you know, because he's already fired. There's nothing I can do. What am I going to do? Defend him? She's not going to listen to me. It's obvious that this is a spiteful firing. Even if I would have tried to defend him, there's nothing I can do. So I'm kind of like, yeah, he yelled at her. You know, I don't say he's at fault. I don't say anything. I say that I heard her insult him, and she's like, well, that's not what the recording says. And she's the boss in charge of the recording. Not much I can do. So she fires Julian, or suspends him for a week, I should say. He's suspended, and then he's going to come back as a cashier. But she fires him as a manager. He will no longer be in charge of the night shift, which is usually great. So he leaves, and before me and Raj can leave, she's like, you guys work nights tonight. I'm taking over as night manager. And I'm like, damn it. How can my luck get any worse? Not only did the coolest manager that I've ever had just get fired for something that wasn't his fault because this jerk that's like in charge of the store has it out for him because her sister is too stupid to figure out how refrigeration works. But on top of that, now I have to work with this witch, dude. What if she tries to bake me into a pie like Hansel and Gretel? Me and Raj are Hansel and Gretel in this situation. Do you understand that? I'm not trying to be baked into a pie by an evil witch in the back of a grocery store. That does not sound fun to me. I've seen those industrial ovens. They're dirty. They do not clean them enough. So whatever, Margaret is straight harsh in the vibe check. If the vibe check was committed that first night, it would basically be the same as people pulling up to camp, and not a fun one if you're picking up what I'm putting down. The vibe is not good. I pull into work, and Margaret basically tells me to go get the cart, so I do that, and I put my headphones in, and she's like, what are you doing? You represent the store right now. You have to get out there. So for an hour, I have to push carts in silence. Sure, is it the biggest deal in the world? Not really. I'm not gonna quit over it, but it just kind of set the tone for everything that was kind of fun about working here is gone. And when you take all of the fun out of working nights at a grocery store, you realize how depressing it is to work nights at a grocery store. You know, like, it's not a very glamorous job once you take the fun out of it and the friendship. Once that's gone, it sucks, because shockingly, most jobs really, really suck. So whatever, I finish up, I go inside, and I'm like, hey, what do you want me to do? And she says, clean the aisles, which, you know, I usually would do later in the night with Raj, but if she wants it done in a slightly different way, Not the end of the world. I can't listen to music. I can't talk to my friend, but I've done it a million times. So it takes me about an hour to clean the aisles, and that's pretty in-depth. Like, I would scrub everything pretty well. So I go back and I say, hey, I finished, now what? And she's like, clean it again. And I go, huh? She's like, yeah, go clean it again. So I'm like frustrated. So I go and I clean the aisles again, and at 1 a.m, or I guess, yeah, about 1 a.m. now, it's not as fun to be awake, and it's not entertaining to be cleaning aisles that you've already cleaned. So I take an hour again, dilly-dallying. I'm kind of like on my phone in the aisles and whatever. Just I'm like wiping it again, but I'm not scrubbing it down again. I'm just kind of wiping it. So I'm kind of on my phone, and I come back and I'm like, hey, okay, I'm done. She's like, okay, go in the back and help Raj. So I get in the back about like 1:30, 1:45, around there, and me and Raj are back there, and like, you know, we get all the orders in, and we like start organizing it, and we organize it. We're like, okay, well, let's go stock it. And when you get an order, you don't stock all of it right at once. You don't take it all out into the aisles. You take it part by part. So, you know, okay, let's go face the bread first. And then you go out and you would stock the bread. And there were more people helping us. It was definitely not just me and him stocking the store. There was like a stock team, but we would help because, I don't know, it was just easier to help. Everybody got the job done faster, then we could goof off and play Nerf basketball. So we're kind of like going out there, and we have it organized in a very specific way. It worked. Basically, the way we would take the orders in is we would order it strategically so it would get delivered. So as the stuff came in, the aisles were in order. Like, they would try to order it and try their best to schedule it. You can't do a ton with scheduling trucking, but try their best to make it so that we could, as efficiently as possible, just work down into the warehouse, like, as we would go across. Instead of having to move stuff to get stuff out, you know, we would just work across. And it worked for us. It was pretty efficient, especially because most days we weren't ordering everything in the store. You would have alternating days, so it was pretty efficient. So we go out with the first set of stuff, and we put it on the shelves, and we face it with the stocking people, and we come back in, and everything is out of order. Everything's been moved. Everything's all over the place. Like, nothing's where it's supposed to be. And Margaret's standing there, and she's like, I want it done this way. And the entire staff, not just me and Raj, is like, we've been getting it done ahead of schedule since before you got, like, why? Why are you doing this now? It's been done by now. Usually at this point in the night, we're done. We still have to do half the store. Like, why would you unorganize it if organizing it has worked so well? And she says, this is better. This is the way that I want it done. You're gonna do it this way. And obviously everybody's like groaning and pissed off, and we get maybe another aisle done because we're having to run all over the warehouse and find stuff, and this needs to go. Like, it was just a mess. It was just a mess. For example, there were 2 pallets of Pepsi. She put one of them in the front where we could get to it, and the other one in the back. Like, it was just dumb. It didn't make sense. It was not a logical system the way she was organizing stuff. So whatever, everybody gets it done. We don't get done with the store, though. At 3 a.m., I'm gone, and I'm not staying longer than 3 a.m. because I got school in 3 hours, so I gotta go. So I leave, and everybody's pissed off. The mood, we had like a little group chat, is pissed off because this lady just sucks. She's not a good manager. If the system is working, why would you replace it? If you were a store owner and your night crew was so good that they were getting done like 2 hours early and then had more time to clean up the store and do everything else and make the orders before the day crew got there, wouldn't you be happy? No, apparently this chick was like, I want it my way. That's just how it was. It was her way or the highway. That was it. That was the only way it could be. And for about 2 months, I put up with it, mainly because Raj asked me to. He needed the job. He was going through a hard time at home. He needed the money. He was like, please, can you just stay? You're making it more bearable. Everybody works well with you. You're more efficient than anybody that could replace you. Can you please just stay? So I'm doing it for my friend. I hated it. It was boring. It sucked. I couldn't listen to music. We couldn't goof off. We couldn't play Nerf basketball. And our work got done slower. It got to the point where the day crew was having to show up and help us. That's how slow she had made us. We went from being done before I would leave to now, like, not being done by 5 a.m. That's how bad it had gotten at one point. And it's just not good. It's not a good system. So everybody's miserable on the night crew. This like once happy family now. We still got along, you know. We would all play Xbox together and stuff. But at work, it sucked. And it was all because Margaret and her stupid managing skills that were not good. They were terrible. So at this point, it had been a couple months since the original incident, and it was getting close to around the Thanksgiving time. And at this point, Julian had been a cashier again for a while, and they moved him back to being in charge of the night shift. I think mainly because Margaret's a boomer and didn't have a very easy time staying up all night. Like, I think it was hard on her. So we get Julian back, and almost as soon as he gets back, Night Crew gets back to being efficient right away. To the point where the store owner wrote Julian an email basically saying, like, thank you so much. You know, it was really stressing me out because I was getting all these emails about how behind we were with deliveries and we had to have truck drivers waiting. It was just not good. So thank you. And we were efficient and the fun was back. We had Nerf basketball again. We were having a great time. Everything was awesome. It was great. It was literally the best. And then, of course, everything gets ruined on one night. We get through the holiday season, which is always a madhouse, except before, like, 2 weeks before Christmas-ish is around when this is going down. So everything was going great. You know, we get back on track for a couple weeks. Everything's going good, but we get through the holiday rush, which is crazy. There's a lot more deliveries. People are buying more stuff. You get the idea. And, you know, I don't remember, like, a super great timeline, so if some of this overlaps, I'm sorry. Weeks feel, you know, different, like, 4 years later. It's a lot different with time. You guys understand the vibes. So, anyways, a couple weeks after we had gotten back on track, at, like, 2 in the morning, which was when we would be done, like I said, we're in the garage and we're waiting for the next deliveries that didn't get there until 3, which is when I left. And, like, the warehouse is pretty empty. There's some stock, but we're playing Nerf basketball. And it's like all of the stock guys, Raj, me, and Julian, everybody is back there gaming. And, sure enough, like, the garage door, which was usually not supposed to be open unless there was a truck there, comes open, and standing there in her sedan is Margaret with her hands on her hips with the owner of the store. And as it's opening, as if it's in a movie, dude, I shoot a 3-pointer that swishes, but, like, I'm jumping as they see me. So it has to awkwardly be in the air as I'm making eye contact with the fact that I'm definitely about to get fired, just vibing. I don't think oh shit begins to cover everybody's expression. So immediately everybody, like, boofs to go work as fast as you can, you know, because nobody wants to be in trouble. And the 3 slowest people that get called out are me, Raj, and Julian. You know, the trio ends as it began, together. And I'm not too thrilled about what's to go down because I like doing the fun stuff, but like most people, I don't enjoy the consequences. It's really fun to play Nerf basketball, but I don't want to explain to the owner of the store why we're doing it. So sure enough, Margaret starts laying into how we're irresponsible and da-da-da-da-da. And as soon as she starts talking, Raj has a moment where I think he decides, I'm done, I've had enough. And, like, he had this look in his eye like he didn't care. And he goes, shut up, Margaret. And she's like, excuse me? And he starts laying into her about how when she was in charge, they were so behind that they had trucks waiting to deliver because they couldn't get rid of the stuff in the warehouse fast enough, and how everybody was miserable, nobody was having fun. And he's like, I'm sorry that Julian is such a good manager that we get the work done early enough to be able to play Nerf basketball because we're already done and don't have deliveries for another hour. I'm sorry that he's just so much better than you that you couldn't get it done and he gets it done too fast. And Margaret starts being like, well, you guys didn't work as hard for me as you do for him. And Raj is like, yeah, because he's a good manager and you suck. And the owner is like, whoa, calm down. You know, like, I'm here at 2 in the morning because she said that you guys would goof off and the garage door opens to Nerf basketball. So what are we supposed to expect? And he's like, no, if you're going to take her side, like, I'm done because she's dumb. You either fire her or I quit. And the owner is like just sitting here dumbfounded. He's like, I don't know what's going on. Like, can't we just get to the bottom of this? He doesn't want anyone to quit yet. He's like, I don't want to make a decision till I know what's up. Because obviously, this is much deeper than just these guys randomly goofing off tonight. I don't know why I'm here. I'm a owner of a franchise of a massive grocery store, but hey, apparently what's going on is important. I really feel so bad for this dude. So there was this family in Henderson, which is where I live. It's like a suburb of Las Vegas, and they owned like all the local grocery stores, and then this corporation bought them out. So they're still like the franchise owners of all of them, but the corporation kind of provides a lot of the financials and profit shares. I don't know how the specifics of it work. I was really not paying enough attention when I was 16 to understand it. But from what I heard, it was like almost like an owner of a McDonald's. You know, he doesn't like own McDonald's, but he owns a McDonald's. This poor guy had gotten dragged here at 2 a.m. because of beef between some old lady and some hotshot manager that did the night shift better. And Raj is like, no, you make your choice right now, or I swear to God I quit. And he's like, well, then I think I'm gonna have to let you go. And he goes, this, and walks out and had quit. He had quit. And we're all just kind of standing there. And it's like really, really quiet and silent and just awkward. And Margaret's like, I want him gone too, and points at me. And I'm like, what did I do, dude? So I'm like, why am I getting fired? And she says, well, you and Raj are buddy-buddies, so I know that whatever he thinks, you think too, and I don't want anyone to be working with me who's a subordinate. I'm sorry for the Discord messages, by the way, but I'm not re-recording this part. Anyways, the owner does not pass the vibe check and Raj quits. And she's like, I want him fired too. And I'm still confused as to what the hell I did. I don't know why I'm getting fired, but apparently I'm just too dirty because I'm friends with Raj, which, you know, kind of feels like a statement on our Disney-esque friendship. Young white boy and an Indian man learning together in a grocery store. Sounds like a Disney Channel show to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's up. But, whatever. And that's when Julian decides to tell the owner and Margaret something that I don't think either of them really knew. And he says, well, you do realize if you fire him, he could sue you, right? And they're like, wait, what do you mean? And he says, well, he's not 18 and you've been having him work the night shift for months. You do realize that if he, like, reports that, that's very, very illegal. And the owner and Margaret kind of get all wide-eyed, and he's like, well, I'm not going to fire him. You know, son, if you need anything, be sure to let me know. Like, oh, are you okay? Like, you can't work nights anymore, you know? But they weren't going to fire me. Once that was found out, everybody shut up real quick. And at the time, I didn't realize how fat that lawsuit could have been. Like, I don't know if I still could do anything, but damn. If at the time I knew how fat lawsuits were, whew, I would have been like, no, please fire me. Like, please, 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 please. I need this. I need this. But at the time I was like, sick. I got to keep my job. Stupid me. But yeah, I got to keep my job. Raj quit. Julian stayed night manager, and Margaret got demoted to normal manager instead of like super manager, which, you know, very good. I'm glad they got rid of the stupid role of super manager. That's just asking for somebody to make a dictatorship. Now, there is something awkward in this story. I kind of did have a sugar daddy, all right. At the moment, I didn't think it was like that, but that's definitely what it was. You see, in high school, me and my friends were big into Xbox. Like, we were some Xbox gamers, okay? We all wanted to be FaZe Clan, Billy Bob 420, Miley Cyrus, Sniper 12. Like, all of us were super into FaZe Clan and Xbox, and because of that, we kind of had made our clan and were convinced that we were going to become the next big trick shotters. We all had our Elgatos, and we would spend hours and hours every Friday night, like, just chilling in six-mans trying to hit trick shots on Call of Duty. I know most of that wasn't English to a lot of you, but let me put this in perspective. Me, big nerd, no girl, likey. Me, big, nerdy nerd, no friends. And me and my friends that I would play Xbox with took our clan stuff pretty seriously, and I was like the leader of this clan. And most people at school like knew it existed because we were pretty cringe and we would brag about it. All right, in retrospect, I can understand why I got ditched on by my homecoming date, okay? I was a bit of an Xbox nerd. I'm not even going cap. You know, we were pretty nerdy, but most other nerdy kids would ask to join our clan or, like, ask to be a part of our trick-shotting team, and we thought it was pretty exclusive. Like, I thought we were pretty dope, you know? I thought we were going to be the next FaZe Clan, and I'd be like, well, you'll have to try out. And there was this new kid that came to our school who was, like, apparently super into Xbox, and I had a class with him, and me and him started talking, and he actually seemed like a pretty chill dude. And I asked if he wanted to play Xbox with us, and next thing you know, every night when we were logging on to play Xbox, he was logging in and joining our party. So he ends up joining our trick-shotting team, and he starts telling us that his dad, like, owns a gaming company and can sponsor us and, like, get us cool stuff and all this free stuff. And we're like, yo, that's dope. Are you serious? And he's like, yeah. And this should have been red flag number one because our YouTube channel only had, like, maybe 2,000 subscribers on it, okay? Like, it was a trick-shotting channel, and I'm pretty sure half of the subscribers were us on all of our accounts. Like, it was definitely not anything that a businessman would want to sponsor. There was no way anyone with an actual business mind would ever want to give a sponsorship to a channel with 200 subs that was a bunch of lame kids in high school spinning in circles on Call of Duty. But he tells us that he can. And he says that his dad has sponsored us and that we're all going to get new monitors. And at the time, most of us were playing on TVs. This is like back in the day when monitors weren't really super common for gaming. Now, most people game on a monitor, like a lot of people do. But at the time, you know, it was just like Modern Warfare 2 on the Xbox 360. So monitors weren't super common. And we're like, yo, that's sick. And sure enough, one day at everyone's, he asked for everybody's address and monitors show up. I got two. Most of my friends got one. He said he got me two because I was the leader of the clan. And we're like, dude, that's crazy. Like, we actually have a sponsor right now, all right? And there were 12 people in our clan, and everybody got at least one monitor. I ended up getting two, which, I mean, made me think that this is legit, because that's what, at the time, $2,000-$3,000 worth of monitors that kid had just dropped on us. And then he started making demands. He's like, yo, my dad says that we have to release a montage on these dates, or he won't sponsor us anymore. And, like, I don't know why. In retrospect, it was super obvious that this was just not legit. Like, it doesn't make any sense now, but at the time, I was like, yo, I got a monitor, we're sponsored. His dad wants us to release this montage. Like, sick. Awesome. So I'm playing on our monitors for whatnot, and we're just having a good time in this little clan, and we're just, like, having a good time. And on Xbox back in the day, it cost you $10 to change your name. I'm not really sure if you guys, you know, knew that. Probably is still the same today. I'm not really sure. Like, I've never really changed my name on Xbox Live anymore. But back on Xbox 360, you had to pay $10 to change your name. And like I said, we had 12 members. And he comes to me one day and he says, hey, man, I want to change the name to this. Like, it's for my dad's sponsorship. He says we need to change our name to this. And I was like, all right, well, you're going to have to give us a little bit to get everybody enough money to change their name. And he's like, no, I'll pay for it. And on the spot, paid $120 for everyone to change their name. Like, everybody changed their name right away, and I was like, wow, that's incredible. And, you know, back in the day, recording gaming was pretty hard. Like, Elgato and GameCap and, like, all that stuff was pretty rare. And there were a bunch of kids in our, like, clan that didn't have Elgatos, and, like, the old Elgato that only recorded in 30 frames per second, which was getting outdated. Like, basically, to record gaming stuff back in the day was a bit of a pain in the butt. And new capture cards, the ones that were super HD quality, cost in the ballpark of $200-$300 a piece. And sure enough, he buys 12 of them. So at this point, if you're kind of keeping track, he's in the ballpark of $6,000-$7,000 that he spent on us, like, a week of joining our little trick shot clan. And even I'm like, wow, we're not making any money on YouTube. Like, your dad must see a ton of potential in this, because that's crazy, man. You spent like $7,000 between everybody getting, you know, everything that they needed, the capture cards, everybody getting whatever they wanted in terms of, like, their name changes. This guy was basically buying monitors, everything we needed to be like a super serious gaming team, which, like I said at the time, I don't know why I wasn't super suspicious, but it was around this point that I started to get fishy. I'm like, why is his dad giving him all this money? Like, where is he getting this from? That's weird. And also, I had never talked to the dad, all right? Like, I've always really loved YouTube and, like, the business side of YouTube. I think it's super interesting, and so I wanted to talk to his dad about it, and he kept making excuses of why I couldn't talk to his dad. And, you know, after a while, I keep getting Elgatos, I keep getting monitors. I was like, whatever, I guess his dad is really busy. He seems really busy, so we just won't talk about it. And we get all this stuff. Everybody's super hyped. He's obviously super popular. I mean, the kid who gives you, you know, $500 worth of technology a week after you know him is obviously seems like a really nice guy. Like, almost too good to be true, you know? Like, wow, this is super weird. Why wouldn't his dad be investing this money in FaZe Clan? This is kind of bizarre. And like I said, in retrospect, I should have been suspicious from day one, but for some reason I wasn't. And then came what was really crazy. So about a week goes by, we didn't get anything new, and then some kid starts saying that, you know, hey, my computer can't run the Elgato, I really appreciate it, can I send it back to you so your dad can return it? And he goes, wait, what computers does everybody have? And everybody tells him, and we were all like broke high school kids, so none of us were rocking an i9 or an i7. And he goes, hold on, and orders 12 like $2,000 gaming laptops. So at this point, this kid is well over $30,000 he spent on us. Like, I think it ended up being $1,700 a laptop he was telling us out of nowhere, and ships it all to our house. So, like I said, we're around $31,000 this kid has spent on a group of kids on Xbox in, like, the last week, which definitely is a little bit bizarre, okay? I love my Xbox friends, but you would never catch me dead spending $31,000 to buy everybody a laptop, or, like, everybody in Elgato. So we're like, wow, this kid is super generous. And at this point, I pull him aside, I said, hey, man, I need to talk to your dad. Like, I have to thank him. There's no way I can keep letting this happen. Like, I have to speak to him and thank him myself. And he goes, oh, yeah, my dad travels on business a lot, which is why I'm always up so late, is because I have to talk to him about what to do with the clan. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's fine. And so I thought. So after that, about 2 more weeks go by, and then it's a new month. Like, we kind of started hanging out right at the end of one month and the start of another, and so by the time the new month rolled around is when we were still, like, hanging out. It had been about a month at this point. Nothing crazy had happened since. Were obviously super grateful for our lab talks. Everybody was super impressed, like, wow, we're becoming, like, a really serious gaming team thing. And then one day, I'm sitting in class, and I get called to the office, and everyone from our Xbox clan is there, except for the kid. And we walk in, and there's these people there, and we don't recognize them, except they looked kind of like the kid. So I'm pretty smart. I can deduct that these are the kid's parents, and I don't know what's going on, but I think we're in trouble. And the principal kind of says, all right, we're going to question all of you separately, but we need to talk to you about some stuff. Is that all right? And all of us are like, yeah, sure, no problem. Because we didn't think anything was wrong. We're like, wow, I wonder what's going on. Like, I don't know what's going on. This is weird. So they start pulling us in one at a time, and they start kind of just asking us questions. So like, do you know this kid? And I'm like, yeah, we play Xbox together. And he goes, hey, he's saying that you guys all coerced him into buying you things. Is that what happened? And I was like, no. He would just offer. He said his dad was like really rich and wanted to sponsor our gaming team. And, he started sending us stuff. Like, he asked for our addresses and started sending us stuff. And she's like, oh, okay, well, all right, thank you. And obviously all of us had the same story. None of us were like, yeah, we begged him to, because like we didn't ask him to do anything, okay? He was just started sending stuff. Like it wasn't like that at all. So they pull us all apart separately, and obviously we all have the same story. They were basically trying to see if we're like lying or covering something up or like trying to coerce him. But I guess what had happened was this kid's mom had gotten her credit card bill, right? And saw $31,000 worth of purchases. And I went to a pretty affluent school, so like a credit card with that limit sounds insane, but it was relatively normal for my school. So she sees this and immediately confronts him, and he breaks down crying and starts saying that all of his Xbox friends forced him into buying this stuff. Like, we held him down and we're like, you need to buy us this stuff or we won't be your friends anymore. So they obviously contacted the school to try to figure this out, and the school's like, interesting, well, let's talk to the kids. So all of us kind of are like, no, that's definitely not what happened. This kid just started buying us stuff for no reason, and like this is insane. So we kind of come back into the room all together, and his parents are there, and his parents are kind of like, can you tell us what happened? Like, we want to hear it from you too. So I end up telling him the story about what happened, of how he joined our gaming team and then sent everybody, this stuff in the monitors, and we were like, oh, thank you. And then out of nowhere, he sent these Elgatos. We're like, oh, thank you. And then one person had a computer, so we bought everybody a laptop. And his mom just starts crying, and she's like, my son stole $31,000 from my credit card. Is there any way that we can get the stuff back? Like, can we have the stuff back so we can try to return it? And we're like, yeah, of course. I don't know if we have all the original boxes, but like we can try our best. So everybody goes home and is frantically trying to get everything together. A lot of people had thrown away their boxes because it had been like a month on the monitors. And his parents ended up selling a lot of the stuff to us. Like, we could buy it at a discounted price, which, I mean, we didn't have to do. Like, obviously, if I wanted to slam the door on his mom's face and be like, screw off, your son stole, lol, good luck, like, I could have done that. But I felt really bad for her. So a lot of us ended up buying the monitors for a steep discount, and I never saw the kid again. I don't know if he got sent to military school or what, but I know if I stole $30,000 from my mom, I would definitely get in trouble. And a moral of the story is, don't steal your mom's credit card and buy a bunch of kids on Xbox $31,000 worth of electronics. It's just not a good idea. So I've had a friend that's been coming over lately, and his name's Grant. We've been making some YouTube videos together for like my third channel, I haven't shouted it out or anything. If you know it, you know it. If you don't, that's fine. It's whatever. But regardless, he's been coming over every morning to record videos and just hang out and have a good time and stuff, considering, we've just been trying to ball out. And he's been up to date with the whole Karen fiasco, and he's been parking his car in my driveway, because whenever he parks it in the street, Karen calls a tow truck company, and then I have to go outside and try to get it towed. And, that's just the type of person Karen is. She doesn't want cars in the street because she thinks it makes her look bad. Like, I'm sorry, Karen. Would you like my guest to park in the bushes? Please tell me where else my guest should park, Karen. Regardless, there's no making Karen happy. So, he's been parking in my driveway. So, I guess this morning, I heard my front door open, and I heard somebody downstairs. So I go downstairs and I call out Grant's name, and nobody's there. Like, I don't hear him. He doesn't answer, but I know somebody came in the door and was in my house. So I'm like, that's weird. And my dogs were barking like crazy, and they usually don't bark when Grant comes in, but I was like, wow, that's bizarre. But like I said, I left the front door unlocked so that way my buddy Grant could come in. So I go outside to check to see if his car is here. Like, maybe he just went to the bathroom or something. Maybe the dogs. Maybe he's wearing a weird color. I don't know. even though dogs are colorblind, I'm kind of 400 IQ for just realizing that. But regardless, I go outside to see if Grant's car's there, and sure enough, I don't see a car. So at this point, I'm pretty sure I'm being home invaded, all right? El Chapo himself just broke out of the Supermax prison and came to my house because his daughter's a big fan of my videos or something. I don't really know. And basically, a stranger is in my house. So I go around my house and I'm looking and I don't find anything, right? I'm like, huh. So maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I'm hearing things. Maybe I was playing Call of Duty and one of the bots came into my house and then got lost. I don't really know. But I go around my house and I don't see anything. So I go back upstairs. I put my headphones on and I just keep recording the video I was making, which was yesterday's story time, because I was like, oh, whatever, no big deal. I guess I'm just hearing things. So I go about my business, and then I hear the door open again, and this time my dog doesn't bark, and I hear someone come upstairs, and Grant is sitting there in an orange sweatshirt, and he goes, who's the lady downstairs? And I'm like, huh? What are you talking about? And he goes, yeah, some lady sitting downstairs. I think it looks like Karen, but I'm not quite sure. Because Grant and Karen have never had like face-to-face interactions. Because whenever Karen does anything, like call a tow truck or complain about anything about Grant being at my house, she doesn't do it in person. She just like calls and complains and then sits in her window and watches it go down. So obviously at this point, I'm flabbergasted. This means one of two things. Either Grant and I have just discovered that there is a ghost in my house and I need to move immediately, which would make Karen happy, or Karen had just walked into my house and that was what I heard earlier. So I go downstairs and Karen is, no joke, sitting on my couch with a water bottle in my hand. I guess I had missed her because she had gone to my garage. Keep in mind, I never invited her in, meaning that Karen, this soccer mom, this entitled butthole, broke into my house. Like, I'm sorry. At what point do you get to threaten to sue someone and then walk up to their front door, check to see if it's open? If it's open, just walk in, go to the garage and grab a water bottle, and then come back in and start chilling on the couch, right? So obviously I'm like, hello, Karen, you need to get out. Like, I didn't invite you here. You didn't ask to come in. And she basically looks at me and goes, we need to have another chat. And I'm like, Karen, listen, you entitled. Oh, I want to swear so bad. Susan, I'm not going to swear because I love you and I respect your platform, and I refuse to say naughty words because I know that's yellow signable, but I really want to call her a mean word. A female dog, okay? She was sitting next to my female dog. That's what I'm going to say. But whatever, Karen said that we need to talk because apparently whatever she needs to tell me is so important that she can't knock on the door, Like, let's just walk into a stranger's house. Like, thanks, Karen. You're an absolute unit. So obviously, I'm a little frustrated at this point, so I'm kind of telling Karen that she's a moron. Like, I'm not too pleased with it. And she basically says, so I've noticed you keep posting videos about me. And I'm like, yes, Karen, and this is definitely going to be a video. And she goes, that's fine, you can post videos about me, but you need to give me all of the money you make from each video. And I'm like, no. I'm not gonna do that. And she says, well, I just think it's only fair that if you're going to make money off off of me and my personality, then I should at least be compensated for it. And I tried to politely explain to her, Karen, listen very closely, you stupid soccer mom. Okay, you just broke into my house. I'm not giving you money to talk about how much of a moron you are. And her argument was that the door was open, so it doesn't count as breaking in, which, like, might work if you're a 4-year-old, But when you're, 34, or I don't even know how old Karen is, 40, who cares? It doesn't matter. If you're over the age of 7, you should know that just walking into somebody's house, whether or not the door is unlocked, isn't okay. Like, Karen, where were you raised? Were you raised in Doristan, where, the door's unlocked, we're totally cool, it's a cultural thing? Because I promise you, not many people are actually chill with you just breaking into their house for shits and giggles. Like, oh yeah, me, oh yeah, this old thing, oh yeah, sorry, just wanted to come inside and see your puppies. Like, that's not cool, I don't care. But beyond that, Karen obviously wanted the cha-ching I've been making off these Karen videos, and I don't blame her because they're getting a lot of views. People love it because Karen's a moron. So I basically politely tell her, no, I'm not going to give her any of the money for my videos. And she says, well, my husband thinks it would be fair. Like, yes, Karen, your husband, the person who has no relation to me at all. He's not my dad. He's not my uncle, not my grandpa. The only reason I know who your husband is because he's married to your crazy self. And no, what your husband thinks is fair doesn't matter to me. I do not care what your husband has to say, literally at all. Your husband could say I should run for president. It doesn't mean anything to me. And this obviously upsets her. And her next argument is this. I don't understand Karen, who's still sitting in my living room with my water bottle, by the way. Well, my husband went to college and you didn't. So therefore, I think he has a better understanding over what's right and wrong. cool, lady, I don't care that your husband went to college. I literally do not care. I'm not giving you the money that the videos are making. Please get out of my house. I don't know you. You don't know me like this. Get out. You broke into my house, you insane soccer mom. This is not cool. Get out. Leave. And she's arguing with me. Well, I just think it's very unfair that you won't even give an inkling of thought to my proposal. No, Karen, I'm not going to give an inkling of thought to my proposal from the person who just broke into my house and took my water bottle. And that's the worst of all. She took a water bottle, guys. For just pennies a day across the nation, Karens could use a reusable water bottle. But no, she had to break into her 20-year-old neighbor's house and just take one instead. So at this point, I'm getting frustrated, and Grant can see that. So he says, you know, you go upstairs, because I probably was about to give Karen the old backhand. And he gets Karen out of the house. We lock the door. He comes upstairs and goes, all right, so I definitely thought you were exaggerating the Karen stories a little bit. But after seeing that, I believe you, you know. she's insane. But it doesn't end there, guys. No. Karen being crazy can't just end with her breaking into my house, because that would be too calm for Karen. 5 minutes later, I hear a knock on the door, and I'm like, I'll be right back. So I open the door and I scream, what? Like, before I even open the door. And if it's the UPS person, then I'll explain why I'm being rude. But I'm preemptively getting ready for a Karen in my face complaining about something that I have no control over, or something that I don't want to do. It's just expected at this point. It's normal Karen behavior. Oh, I just dropped my mouse. So I open the door and her husband is standing there, and he says, hey man, look, I know you're not going to give her the money, but can you at least do something so she feels like she has a little bit of a victory? She won't stop talking about it. She's going crazy. She's watching the videos on repeat. Please, for the love of all that is holy, please give her something so she'll calm down. And you know what? Maybe if your husband would have come over like a week ago before you broke into my house, or before you threatened to sue me, maybe I would have given you a $20 bill and been like, oh, that's all the ad revenue, and you could have felt like you won, and we could have gone our separate ways. But now at this point, I'm not gonna be nice to Karen. I understand, man, that your life's gotta suck because your wife is coming over and complaining about me all the time, but I'm not giving your wife the dub, because your wife is going to take every L in the book that I want to hand to her. And if she wants to come over and make herself a fool again tomorrow, I will once again make a video on it. Like, I'm sorry. I've tried to be neighborly. I've tried to be nice. We're past that now. At this point, everything that happens from here on out is your wife taking an L, and I'm not going to apologize, because to be honest, I don't feel bad. And no, I'm not going to give your wife any money. So he kind of is like, okay, fair enough. You know, I don't want any problems. I'm like, dude, I get it. Your wife is insane. She just broke into my house. And he goes, what do you mean? She said that you invited her over. So I tell her husband the story of how she, like, just walked into my house. And I basically say, you know, I want to call the police. I'm not going to, because I don't want your wife to go to prison. You know, very clearly there's something unhinged. But your wife can't just walk into my house, bro. Like, that's really not cool. You know, like, breaking into people's houses is not very neighborly. And he's like, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. She's been, like, offered medication recently. I'm like, dude, I don't care if she's offered medication. Get her back on it, because this is getting out of control. And the next time she does anything crazy, I'm calling the cops. And the husband's like, okay, I'm sorry. Have a good day. I'm so sorry. And he's just really apologetic. Like, I feel bad for the poor guy. He obviously loves his wife. But, you know, maybe if your wife's breaking into your neighbor's house, it might be time to get a new one. Just a thought out there. I know you're watching this, Karen. Suck it. I don't really care. You can be mad all you want. Whatever. Realistically, guys, I don't know what to do at this point. Like, I've tried everything in the book. I've tried to be nice. I'm tried to be mean. I think I'm just gonna let her be crazy. And if she keeps being crazy, I'll keep making videos and getting more subscribers. Real simple policy. Hey, Karen, you hear that? Every time you do something dumb, I win. So in middle school, our cafeteria had these bomb brownies for some reason. Like, I know most of the time school lunches are supposed to be disgusting and be shaped like gelatinous blobs that are like gonna crawl off your tray in the middle of lunch. But I'm telling you, dog, I don't know if our lunch ladies just baked these brownies with love, or there was cocaine in them or something, but these brownies were absolutely one of the best things I've ever tasted, alright? But the only problem was they never had enough for every kid at lunch. Like, guaranteed, if you weren't at lunch in the first 5 minutes, these brownies were gonna be gone before anybody got a taste. I'll never forget the first time I I tasted one of these brownies and I realized that nothing else life mattered, you know? Like, honestly, if I had to choose between a wife and children one day or eating these brownies every day, I would be diabetic because I'd be smashing on those brownies every day. But like I said, they were really hard to get our hands on, and me and my boys class happened to be all the way across campus. And after getting yelled at for doing a full-blown Usain Bolt sprint to the lunchroom every day to try to get these brownies on time, we decided that we had to do something to get these brownies in full, alright? They were too good to pass up on. And what's worse is the entire school was obsessed with these brownies too. Like, it wasn't just a situation where me and my boys thought the brownies were delicious and so did like 5 other people. No. The entire school had discovered that these brownies actually, for some reason, contained the most addictive qualities of all time. So like I said, me and my friends were trying to sprint to lunch every day to try to, you know, just do our best to get these brownies. And we were taking L's on the daily, alright? We just weren't getting them. And like I said, these were delicious. So we started looking for ways that we could get these brownies. And one of my friends says, hey, you know, I know a lunch aid. We can ask when the brownies get here every day and like what type of box they're in, and we could take them. And we obviously laughed, you know. I think I made a joke about how, what is this, some stupid heist movie? Like, you expect us to break into the cafeteria and steal brownies? Come on, man. But the more we started to think about it and the more we kind of started joking around about the logistics of it, the more I realized, oh my god, we could probably get away with stealing these brownies. You see, I don't know about you, but at my middle school, I wouldn't exactly call our lunch ladies a top-notch security team, okay? Don't get me wrong, they were solid. I definitely don't think that they were like gonna be a walk in the park to steal brownies from, but it wasn't SEAL Team 6 mixed with the Secret Service, alright? Like, it was 3 overweight women in their 60s who really couldn't care less if we stole brownies or punched somebody in the face or really did anything, you know? Like, they were just gonna do their job, shut up and go home. So we started thinking about it more, and we had this guy in the lunchroom who was our lunch aid connection, and I was like, yeah, I mean, you know what? Let's send it. I honestly think we can get away with it. And, you know, at a certain point, yes, it is wrong to take things from a lunchroom, guys. Don't get it twisted. Don't twist my words here. You shouldn't take things from a lunchroom. But at the same time, when the brownies possibly have, you know, addictive things in them, you got to do what you got to do for America. And for me, it's always just been the challenge of when people say that, like, something's impossible or that I can't do it, I have an urge to do it, you know? So I'm talking to some friends about it, and they were like, dude, you could never do it. There's no way you'd ever get away with it, which just makes me want to do it more. You know, like, when I told my parents I wanted to be a YouTuber, they told me it was ridiculous and it was never going to happen. And now I'm here with 2 channels over 500,000 subscribers, so take that, Mom. So I've always just had a thing for authority and being able to prove people wrong. Like, it's always been a go-to for me. So the second people start questioning my ability to break into this lunchroom and steal some brownies, the more committed I am to actually doing it. So we finally commit to the fact that we are going to pull the heist of the century, alright? We're going to steal $17,000 worth of brownies. It was more like $70 worth of brownies. Don't get confused, guys. I promise it wasn't that big of a deal. And what we're going to do is we're basically going to get this information from our lunch aid, and we're going to go from there. So me and my friends decide that we're going to get this information. And I'm telling you, it was the sketchiest meeting I've ever been in my entire life. Like, first of all, we're talking about getting into a middle school cafeteria and taking brownies, not breaking into Fort Knox. But, you know, he makes us meet him at like 10 p.m. in front of a convenience store and walks up in a black hoodie and black sweatpants, looking like we're actually about to buy something from him. I'm not going to say what. You guys can use your imagination. And it's like, you guys ready for the information? And we're all like, yeah. But like I said, this looks shady, okay? Anyone who pulls into the parking lot at this time and sees this going down definitely doesn't think we're talking about the intricacies of how to get into a cafeteria early. So whatever. I'm standing here with douche canoe Daniel just looking like an absolute sleazeball in front of this convenience store while he's giving me the information. And, you know, if the cops did pull up and we looked suspicious, which we definitely did, I don't think they would buy the argument, no, dude. We're just, we're trying to get some info so we can break into our cafeteria and steal brownies. He'd be like, what is brownie slang for, you know? What is the cafeteria? Is that the jail? Like, what are you guys talking about? Because nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to believe what we're talking about in this situation, especially at, you know, the middle of the night at a convenience store. So whatever, we're talking to Sleazeball over here, and he kind of tells us that every day the brownies get dropped off. There's 2 boxes of them, and they come in like just this plain Jane cardboard box with this logo on it, and he shows us a picture, and he says it gets there about noon, and the lunch ladies don't really take inventory or anything till 12:15. So that gives us a 15-minute window to sneak in without the lunch ladies seeing us and walk off with a box of brownies. And we decide that we're only going to steal 1, mainly because that way they just like might think that they lost it, you know, or that only 1 got delivered. Like, I don't really know what our plan was, okay? I don't know why we only decided to take 1. In retrospect, thinking 500 IQ big brain as a 20-year-old, They might have just thought, hey, you know, oh, only one box of brownies got delivered. That's weird. I think that's what we were going for. But honestly, it doesn't make too much sense in retrospect. But whatever, that's our plan. He also says that the lunch ladies are eating lunch in the cafeteria before they work. So basically, from noon to 12:15, they're eating lunch in the cafeteria, which is something that we have to get through. So now we need to find a way to get out of class early, to go to the cafeteria, sneak into the cafeteria, get past the lunch ladies without them saying anything, and get a box of brownies out of school somehow, because we can't carry it around all day, and try our best to get it home. So obviously, now we need to work through the intricacies of how we're going to pull off this epic heist. So our final plan we come down to is this. We're going to have one guy get sick, and I'm using air quotes, but you can't see them because I'm using gameplay. I don't know why I do this to myself. And anyways, so he's going to get sick, and his mom is going to come pick him up. And basically, he's going to have the perfect window because he lived by the school, and we have to get the brownies to his car. And then obviously, we have somebody swipe some hall passes to get 3 of us out of class. We fill them out and get them signed. That's pretty easy. I've talked before about how, you know, I almost didn't graduate because I was so good at stealing hall passes. So I get that done. I take them from my computer teacher because me and her were close and she just wasn't paying attention. So I nabbed those. And we're going to walk in to the cafeteria and tell them that we were sent by the school news team to do something in the back room, if that's okay, and then they'll say yes, and we'll be fine, you know? So that's the game plan. We don't have a backup plan. If anything goes wrong, we're just going to take the L, you know? Because sometimes you just got to take the L, but that's our game plan. So the day comes, and obviously, we whip out our hall passes at the appropriate time, get dismissed, and we meet by the water fountain, which is where we agreed to meet. And we're like, all right, we've been at the water fountain. Echo 9, Foxtrot Charlie, synchronize your watches, Echo 9. Fuck, where is house team? Heist, Echo Fox. We didn't have walkie-talkies. That would have made this way cooler, to be honest. I should have brought some from home, but whatever. We decided to go through with our plan. So we whip into the cafeteria, knock on the door. Lunch ladies let us in. We tell them what's up, and they says, why do you guys need to use the back room in the lunchroom for the news team? And, you know, me being quick on my feet, I'm a pretty good person at just coming up with bullcrap on the spot to try to get what I want. So I just kind of looked at them and I was like, oh my gosh, did you guys not hear? There's a new bill being proposed on the Nevada State Senate about how lunchrooms now need to be equipped with an extra amount of fire extinguishers. And we were just kind of reporting on whether or not this back room has it. So that's what we're just looking into, you know, just because it's going to be legislative, it's going to cost taxpayer money. And I think I sounded so boring and like I knew what I was talking about so much that the lunch ladies just didn't question it. And that's the real key. If you ever want to get away with anything and you need an excuse to get away with it, if you say it with confidence, I can promise you with all my heart, no one's going to question you. I don't know what it is. Anytime you say something with confidence and are just like, nope, that's how it is and there's nothing you can do about it, people fall over trying to believe you. Like, they'll argue with other people saying how right you were, you know? So whatever. They let us in the back room and everybody's high-fiving me for my quick thinking. We get to the back. We go out the back door to where the truck is, and sure enough, there are 2 boxes of brownies. So at this point, we're waiting for a text from our friend to let us know that his mom is in front of the school. So we take the box, and one person takes the box back around to the front of the school where the kid's mom is going to be, right? And the other 2 of us have to come up for a reason for us to get past the lunch ladies without this box and explain why our friend was gone. So that's the next issue. So obviously, our friend gets the box to the mom's car. She came to get him because he was feeling sick. And when she asked what the box was, he was like, oh, it's from a school project. And she didn't question a thing. Moms, if you're out there, question things because 9 times out of 10, if something looks fishy, it's because your kids just pulled a heist and stole a box of brownies. So we get the text that we're clear to go and the bag has been secured. So me and my friend walk back out, say our other friend got sick, isn't in the bathroom. He comes back in, comes out of the bathroom 5 minutes later. We bounce out and we just spend the rest of the day doing what we got to do. You know, we're just like, oh, lunch was great. We didn't get our brownies, but we didn't care. And that night we go over to our friend's house and we ate so many brownies that we all threw up. And you know what the moral of the story is, kids? Whenever you have a dream, if you have a dream, make it happen. As Martin Luther King said, I have a dream. And sure, Martin Luther King did a bunch of cool stuff, but I guarantee you that he never stole brownies from a cafeteria without getting caught. Honestly, we never even got questioned. No one even questioned it. I'm pretty sure the lunch ladies just assumed they only got 1 box that day. But, yeah. We also figured out a little bit later that we could just order them online wholesale and get boxes of them from Amazon. So we ended up doing that. But that's not as cool as just operating a heist and getting away with stealing a giant box of brownies from your school. Don't let your memes be dream, kids. Get out there and make it happen. Now, my middle school and high school just had some of the weirdest kids I've ever met. I don't know if it's something in the water in Las Vegas or something, but it's like weird kids multiply at a rate exponential to the rest of the country, you know? Like, everywhere else in the country, there might be 2 or 3 weird kids per 100, but where I'm from, it's like 25. So we had a huge collection of weird kids that I went to middle school with. But most of them were boys. I don't know if it's just because boys are weird or whatever. Like, I don't really know why. Maybe being weird is just sexist. But for some reason, most of the weird people that I would be around were just dudes. And I'm not really sure why that is. But for some reason, there were not a ton of weird girls. It was not something that was extremely common. Like, maybe 1 in every 10 weird people were girls. But in middle school, I think one of the weirdest people in our school was a girl. And for the story, I'm going to call her Angelica just because, you know, the girl Angelica from the Rugrats was a big poo-poo head. And this girl, ironically, had something to do with poo-poo. And Angelica was one of these people that thought she was better than everyone, you know? Like, you know those girls that are just like, I would talk to you, but I think you're a big poo-poo stupid head, and I don't have time for that. Like, that's the type of person she was. Except the only problem is she wasn't really smarter than anyone, and she was really weird, and she chalked up nobody wanting to talk to her as like, oh, she's just so much smarter than everybody that no one will understand the complexities of how her brain works, you know? But the truth of the matter is she was mean and weird. Like, the type of weird, I'll never forget this. This is an example of how weird she is, okay? One time, we're sitting in English class, and she just looks over and starts meowing at me. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she goes, meow, I'm a cat. You have to pet me. Meow, I'm a cat. So here I am in a 7th grade English classroom with a girl meowing at me telling me I have to pet her. Like, that's how weird this chick was. But somewhere along the line, it stopped just being weird and became nasty. Like, in 7th grade, she was super obsessed with cats. She's meowing at me, you know? Nothing says fun like having a child meow at you. You're just sitting there like, you know, I'm trying to write this essay, but I can't with Rebecca over here going meow, meow, meow and licking my arm. But regardless, you know, people are sitting here licking me and meowing me in the middle of class, but it got weirder. In 8th grade, she stopped being obsessed with cats and became really, really obsessed with proving to everyone that she was hardcore. You know, I don't know what it was about her being hardcore, but for some reason, she was just convinced that if she was hardcore, no one would mess with her and she would have all the friends. And what I mean by hardcore is pretty simple. She just thought that doing extreme things was sick. So like someone would dare her to, I don't know, get in a trash can and roll it down a hill, and she'd be like, yeah, I'll do it. Jump in a trash can full of trash, which is just gross, okay? Like middle school trash cans are full of chewed bubblegum and spilled Gatorade. She would jump inside the trash can and roll it down a hill, literally rolling around with all the nasty trash, and just thought it was perfectly normal. Who does that, first of all? Like, not once have I ever looked at a trash can full of nasty trash and been like, I want to hop inside that so that way I can roll down a hill. But that's the type of stuff she would do just to prove that she was extreme. And over the course of the year, it started to get worse and worse and worse. So here's this girl jumping into trash cans full of trash, covering herself in garbage, and overall being the nastiest person I've ever met. Like, it's already kind of gross, right? Jumping in a trash can is weird. But it gets even nastier. Like, I know what you're thinking. Scrubby, how in the world does it get nastier than a girl jumping in trash can and purposely rubbing herself with trash? Well, let me tell you. She started wearing how long it had been since she showered like a badge of pride. You know, she's sitting there like, I haven't showered in 2 weeks, and thought it was cool. And this isn't like 4th grade where, you know, little kids stink is different. This is like, we've all hit puberty, okay? We all are definitely smelling like things that you don't want to smell. And she was just bragging about how I haven't showered in 2 weeks. And trust me, she smelled like it. At one point, she had to get a desk separated from the rest of the kids because no one could sit next to her without getting sick. She would flex the fact that she hadn't showered in 3 weeks, which is just disgusting. I don't know what level of nastiness you have to achieve to think it's cool to not shower. Like, I've never gotten that. Yeah, man, I haven't showered in a week. Wow, dude, so you're telling me you smell like garbage and don't think there's a problem with it? That's a little sus. I also wonder what her parents thought. Like, yeah, she had these parents that were kind of hippy-dippy and were all about self-expression, but at a certain point, not showering isn't just self-expression, okay? Not showering is just disgusting. I don't care who you are or what you're doing. If you think your kid not showering for weeks is self-expression, you're delusional and you need some help. Because trust me, and I promise you this, no one wants to sit next to the kid who never showers, ever. But hey, your hippy-dippy parents sure did a good job raising you, you know? You not showering made you really popular. That's sarcasm. So this girl is already pretty nasty, right? And I'm sure you guys are thinking, Scrubby, she sounds gross, but she doesn't sound like the nastiest girl to ever exist, and that is correct. The nastiest girl on the internet title comes from something else. But I'm just giving you guys a backstory of how gross this girl is, okay? She didn't shower, she covered herself in trash, and on top of that, she would eat expired foods to flex on you. Like, if you had moldy milk and you paid her $5, she would drink the moldy expired milk. Like, she was just a really weird person who really liked gross things, and I don't get it, okay? I like being clean. I like living in the 21st century where we have showers and we can do whatever we want, you know? I'm a big fan of modern living. Call me crazy here, but smelling like garbage is not something I want to do on a daily basis. It's not my favorite thing. When I'm sitting at home writing about what I want to do with my life, not once is it not shower on the list. But hey, you know, maybe that's the difference between us and them. Some people just really like that life. She would also really like the fact that people were grossed out by her, you know? Like, she would raise her armpits and shove them in your face. Keep in mind, she hasn't showered for 2 weeks. And then, like, laugh at the fact that people would run away. Like, what do you want people to do? Sit there and sniff your pits? Yeah, no, thank you. But now, we're gonna get to the front of it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here's the deepest, darkest part of all of it. So, somewhere along 8th grade, we found out that she had a YouTube channel. And I know what you're thinking. Scrubby, every middle schooler had a YouTube channel, and that's correct. But this wasn't one of those YouTube channels where you did Minecraft Let's Plays or, you know, sang songs or did makeup or whatever. What we discovered is she had a YouTube channel where, get ready folks, recoil. I will warn everybody now, if you don't want to throw up in your mouth, you might want to click off the video now, because what I'm about to tell you will gross you out. She was tasting different types of animal excrements and was rating it like a food review channel for animal droppings, okay? I don't want to say the word because it's 100% gonna get demonetized, but like, she was eating that on YouTube, posting a video of her trying it and uploading it on the internet, and people were watching it. Now, I don't know what type of videos you guys watch outside of me, okay? Honestly, you know, that's your own business. But what in the world do you think that type of audience is gonna be? You know, I didn't know there was a huge audience out there for, I wonder what panda crap tastes like. Better give it a listen. But she was an expert on tasting feces. That is disgusting. You need to brush your teeth for the next 37 years. You need to brush your teeth until your Social Security payments are ready to get taken out. You're telling me that you were sitting there eating feces and went, yeah, this is what I want to do. I'm gonna upload it and put it on the internet. Who brags about that? Somewhere along the line, this idea popped into her head. You know, I'm eating all this animal crap. Maybe I should film it and put it on the internet. That's what people love to see, you know? Last time I was sitting there on the couch watching YouTube videos, I said, I sure do wish somebody was eating animal droppings. That would be my idea of a good time. And then went in the backyard and started filming it. Like, in her backyard, just tasting all these different types of animal feces, not seeing anything wrong with it. She thought it was perfectly normal. So whatever, someone finds this channel and immediately it spreads across the school like wildfire, because it's not every day you have a classmate that's kind of YouTube famous for eating animal droppings, all right? It's just not a common occurrence. So everyone starts talking about it, and she becomes embarrassed immediately. She's like, I can't believe you guys would invade my privacy, which, okay, fair enough, maybe. But you're posting these videos publicly on YouTube of you eating animal droppings and flex the fact you don't shower. You think anyone was surprised? Like, don't get me wrong, we were concerned, because I feel like that's drastically unhealthy, you know? That stuff cannot be good for your lower intestine. But you can't post something publicly on the internet and then be surprised when people find it. It's like, listen, I don't tell people that I know in real life that I'm scrubby, but when they find my channel and they're like, are you this guy? I'm not like, no, how did you find that? You've invaded my privacy. I feel upset because I'm putting it publicly on the internet. You just got to accept that someone's gonna see it. But whatever, she gets all mad and starts reporting people who would call her by her YouTube name to the dean's office for bullying. So obviously, after a little bit, the dean tries to figure out what's going on. So we tell the dean that she has a YouTube channel of her eating poop, and he doesn't believe us. He doesn't think so. He's like, no, there's no way, that's not true. So everyone who's getting sent to the dean's office is getting in trouble for bullying because we're telling her that she's a poop eater. But the truth of the matter is, that's what she was. We weren't kidding. So we're all getting in trouble. We're all getting detentions for calling this girl poop eater. But that's what she was, you know? That's like going up to somebody, punching him in the face, and then stomping on their knee, and then people calling you knee stomper. Like, you did it. That's just the truth. It's not a lie. But whatever. We found out this girl was literally eating animal droppings on her YouTube channel, and she was offended that we thought it was weird. Like, oh, my bad. Sorry I haven't been around a bunch of people who eat animal droppings. It's not common in the animal kingdom. You're not supposed to do that, okay? Like, call me crazy for thinking that's weird, but I'm pretty sure that's confirmably weird. Anyways, after 8th grade year, her and her family moved to another state, so the nastiest girl on the internet with the nastiest YouTube channel I no longer saw every day. But last time I checked on her, she stopped uploading about 3 years ago, so hopefully she got into therapy or something, because whatever she was doing was not normal, okay? I'm sorry, call me crazy. It is not normal to be into that. But regardless, you know, this was actually the nastiest girl to ever exist. And if you disagree, I'm questioning your sanity, because that means somewhere along the line you went, nah, seems pretty normal to me. Yes, I know someone's going to comment that we were a little mean to her after we found her channel, but come on, tell me when you found out somebody was eating animal droppings, you wouldn't be like, you're weird for that. Come on, you little wackadoodle. So one day I was scrolling through Twitter, you know, looking through my mentions as I normally do. I try to look at everybody's tweets that they send my direction and at least like them or let them know that I saw them, because I do appreciate everything you guys do for me. And I saw this person had tweeted at me about 25 times saying follow me, and I figured, I was like, you know what, I press one button and their day's made, so I'll drop a follow on them, they'll be happy, I'll be happy, I'll feel good about myself, everybody wins, you know, I'll pat myself on the back, they'll be happy they got the follow. No one loses in this situation. So I follow them, and almost instantly my inbox starts getting flooded with DMs from them, basically being like, oh, I love you so much, like, I know that we're meant to be together, you're my soulmate, I have no doubt that I'm gonna marry you, all this creepy stuff, you know, and I just followed you on Twitter, I'm not trying to get married, alright? It might have a nice ring to it, but that would imply commitment, and I ain't down for that. So I politely respond and go, haha, nice joke, like, funny, please don't DM me so much, because it kind of blows up my inbox, and I don't like it. Trying my best to be respectful, right? And that's where I went wrong. You see, I should have just left it alone. I should have blocked him right then and there, because the next 2-3 weeks of my life were some of the scariest that I've ever seen. So right when I say, you know, please don't DM me as much, I like my privacy, like, I'm not gonna unfollow you, but please just back off a little bit. They start being like, no, I'm serious, like, I know that we're supposed to be together. And they start dropping information in this chat that there's no way anybody could know. Like, where I went to high school, what elementary school I went to, my childhood best friends that I don't even follow on Instagram or Twitter, just some really weird stuff. Like, only somebody that's done some real deep digging on me would be ever to know. And I'm getting scared at this point, okay? Because anybody that comes in my DMs talking about how God told them that we were supposed to be together and starts knowing all my private information when I don't know them is a pretty intimidating sight to see. And at this point, I'm like, oh, so this is how it ends. I'm gonna wake up one day with this person holding a pillow over my face saying, I can't have you, nobody can, and that's gonna be the end of it. So I do the sensible thing at this point. I send them a DM saying, I really don't like the invasion of privacy, and then I block them. You know, I tried to be nice. All this started with me trying to be a nice guy, and I learned my lesson. Basically, if anyone's nice, you have to punch them in the face immediately so they don't get too comfortable. That's the rules. So I am a little freaked out, but I move on. I'm like, okay, I blocked them. Someone knows my information, whatever. If people find out, they find out. This sucks, but I guess that's my life now. And then somehow it gets worse. I guess this crazy person really just thought me blocking them was me playing hard to get or something, because suddenly I start getting phone calls on my cell phone from this person being like, Scrubby, I need you to call me. It's super important. I need to tell you something. Please call me back. And I'm like, no, it's not happening, because my phone number is not public information. As surprising as it may sound, I don't go to every subscriber I have and be like, by the way, shoot me a text whenever you need something. So somehow this person not only has all this information, they also have my phone number and are calling me and begging me to call them back. So at this point, I'm just about to poop myself. So I block their number and I go to Verizon and I change my number, which was a big hassle, by the way. You know how hard it is to change your number and have to go back through after you've had the number for like 10 years and tell every contact that you updated your number, and you have to go through and change all your account numbers. So thank you for that, crazy stalker person. I really appreciate you making me spend about a week and a half just changing every phone number on every account that I have. You're a real piece of work. I love how I'm getting stalked, and the thing I'm complaining about the most is the fact that I had to change my Xbox account's phone number. So like I said, I changed my phone number, make all my accounts the new phone number, and I'm like, boom, problem solved. Now they can't call me. I blocked them on Twitter. There's nothing else that they could possibly do. And that's when it happens. I was out and about one day, hanging out with some friends. I think I went and got my hair cut. I don't know why that's important to the story, but it was a fresh cut. I did look pretty dapper, not trying to brag or anything. Brag. There's a word. And so I come home and my dad's like, oh, your friend was here looking for you earlier. And I was like, what do you mean? What friend? And he goes, yeah, somebody came to the door and said, hey, is Scrubby here? And I thought it was kind of weird that they call you by your YouTube name, but I told him that you weren't home and that you'd be back later. And I was like, that's odd, because no one I know in real life calls me Scrubby. Everybody just calls me Ryan. Even my subscribers call me Ryan a majority of the time. Like, I really don't get called Scrubby very often. So I thought that was a little bizarre, but I go about my day. And then later that night, I get a DM on Instagram and they go, hey, stop by your house today. You weren't home, LOL. Should I come back later? And it's the same username as the person that I blocked on Twitter after they called me and stalked me and said we were supposed to be together. So at this point, I'm like, oh, I'm 100% going to die. This crazy stalker person not only is calling me, finding out this information, knows my address, shows up to my house. This is the type of crazy that you see in the movies. This is not supposed to happen to me. And I wasn't even a huge YouTuber at the time. I think I only had like, what, 200,000 subscribers 2 months ago? So it was not the situation I was expecting. And I'm sure you're asking, Scrubby Oh Wise One, how in the world did you get out of this situation with the crazy stalker lady? Well, I DM'd her back on Instagram. I said, oh yeah, that's not my address anymore. Ha ha, I moved. Gave her an address of a house like 4 streets down. Said this is where I live now, and then blocked her on Instagram. So to whoever's house address I gave out, I hope you never got broken into or someone tried to rob your house, because if they did, that's kind of my bad. And I haven't heard from them since, so I'm pretty sure they got the message or moved on or something. But if you are watching this video, please don't contact me again. I really don't want you to show up at my house. That's weird. And yeah, that's the story of the time I got stalked. Not as climactic as some people's stalker stories, but it still was pretty terrifying. Moral of the story, if you find your favorite YouTuber's number, please don't text them and tell them you're soulmates, because you're probably just gonna get blocked and you're gonna get a story time made on you. My first real experience I had with this babysitter that I remember is when I was around 4 years old. Like I said, he was my neighbor and he was around 15 at the time. And he came over while my parents were gone. And at one point, after hanging out with me for a while, watching TV, making me dinner, all that stuff, he told me that we were gonna play hide and seek. But I had to be a real good hider and I would probably be hiding for a very long time. So I was like, bet, dude, I'm ready to play. I love hide and seek. I thought I was just gonna be playing games with this cool babysitter that was new and definitely wanted to hang out with me. And in my house, we have this closet under the stairs that has a bunch of room in it, kind of like a Harry Potter closet, and there's a bunch of toys and boxes in there, and that was my favorite hiding place. And I ended up finding this out later when I would tell my parents about this when I was like 14 years old, but they told him that was my favorite hiding spot. So if we were playing hide and seek, to let me hide there for a little before finding me, just because little kids like to be good at things, you know, and I was only about 4 years old. So I go into the closet, I hide behind some boxes, and I start waiting for my babysitter to come find me, because he promised me that we were going to be playing hide and seek, and who lies to a 4-year-old, am I right? So here I am, lying in the closet behind these boxes, waiting for my babysitter to come find me, and I hear the door rustling, and me being a 4-year-old, I'm like, oh, this is going to be lit, boys. Oh, there's no way he's going to find me. I am the god at hide and seek. I am untouchable. I am Sly Cooper. I am invisible. I am Iron Man. And so I'm just minding my business, really expecting my babysitter to burst through the door any minute. And 10 minutes passed probably, or at least felt like 10 minutes, and he still hasn't come in. There was just fidgeting at the door, and that was it. And it's not dark in there. There is a light in there, so I'm not like freaking out or anything, even though at the time I was pretty afraid of the dark. But I am stuck in a tiny closet with just a couple toys, right? So I go to open the door because I'm like, hey man, you haven't found me in 10 minutes. You're kind of bad at this game, you little poop shoot. And the door won't open. There's no lock on the door, but I'm pushing on it and it's not working at all. Like the door just isn't budging. And that's when I hear it, a voice I didn't recognize, and it was a girl's voice. And she's saying my babysitter's name, who I'm gonna name Daniel for the purpose of the story, because I feel like that's just a douchey name. And this guy just locked a 4-year-old in a closet, so he's kind of the king douche. Like if there was a douche kingdom, this guy would be the douche king, okay? So they're talking, and I start to hear noises that definitely isn't a normal conversation. That's all I'm gonna say, because I like to stay monetized, and Susan's kind of edgy lately. But I'm banging on the door. I'm a 4-year-old, by the way, banging on the door trying to get out because this douche canoe locked a 4-year-old in the closet. I'm banging on the door. He's banging something else, if you guys know what I mean. And I'm stuck, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die in the closet. Holy cow, he's being kidnapped by a group of female ninjas that love to scream. But regardless, about 20 minutes later, she leaves, and the door opens, and he's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know how to get the door open. I was trying so hard. And I'm like, listen here, Daniel, I might be 4 years old, but I wasn't born yesterday. 4 years old is 4 years, mister. You think I'm stupid? I've seen Shark Week 4 times at this point. I have plenty of knowledge on absolutely everything, all right? And that's when I notice a dining room chair that is suddenly near the door. This guy had propped a door underneath the closet handle so I couldn't get out, just to bring his girlfriend over. And you know what? If he would have just turned on the PS2 upstairs and just been like, yo, play a video game, I probably would have been fine. But Douche Canoe really had to lock me in a closet. Douche Canoe Daniel, that's his official nickname. But whatever, he promises me that if I don't tell my mom and dad about the closet situation, that he'll give me an otter pop. And you know, I'm 4 years old, so I'm like, I bet that's a fair trade. I mean, being locked in the closet kind of sucked, but it wasn't wasn't that bad, and I'm gonna get an otter pop out of it. I'll take these odds any day of the week. So I let Daniel off the hook this time, alright? Otter pops can buy my silence almost as much as money, and I've been paid off by quite a few mafia members at this point to keep my silence. But regardless, I don't tell my parents that he locked me in the closet, which I probably should have done, but you're 4 years old, a cool kid who's older than you and likes to hang out with you and play hide and seek where he locks you in a closet, tells you to keep your mouth shut. You kind of just keep your mouth shut. It was really stupid in retrospect. I don't know what I was thinking, but Douche Canoe Daniel really had a way with convincing me not to tell anyone. But it wouldn't be the last time Douche Canoe Daniel used my 4-year-old naivety to his advantage. The next time he babysat me, it somehow got worse. I know what you're thinking. How could it possibly get worse than locking a toddler in the closet? But it did. You see, I guess Douche Canoe Daniel didn't like how much money my parents were paying him because I was playing PS2 Sly Cooper, which is in my parents' room, and my parents' closet was basically, I could see it from where I was playing PS2, right? And I'm looking down the hallway, and I see Douche Canoe Daniel kind of going through my mom's stuff, especially near where they keep their money. And 4-year-old me obviously didn't put 2 and 2 together, but I asked Daniel, I said, hey man, what are you doing? And he goes, oh, I'm just reorganizing your mom's jewelry. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense, Douche Canoe Daniel. Plenty of babysitter teenage boys rearrange middle-aged women's jewelry. That's a common trend. I know plenty of people who do exactly that because 4-year-olds are stupid, okay? Babies are just drunk people, little drunk people. I mean, think about it. I wasn't a baby by any means, but I was still really short. I couldn't walk very well. I really sucked with my words. I was basically just a drunk person. Babies are just drunk people. And I just kind of let it slide. I didn't think about it. But anyways, Daniel keeps rummaging through my parents' room and comes back, and I don't think anything of it because I'm 4 years old and I'm playing PS2, and I don't really understand people who would steal things yet. Like, that concept was still kind of rare to me. For some reason, when you're 4 years old, you believe in the good of everybody around you, and you're not sitting there going, yeah, this babysitter's probably stealing stuff from my parents. It's just not a thought that's crossing your mind every 30 seconds. And later that night, before my parents got home, I ended up spilling my chocolate milk all over the carpet, which I wasn't supposed to have the drink on anyways, and Daniel was like, hey man, don't even worry about it, like, you're good, don't sweat it, everything's fine, I won't tell your mom and dad. And so here I am being like, yo, Douche Canoe Daniel's actually a cool dude, he's not gonna snitch on me for spilling my chocolate milk. And my mom would have been pissed if she found out that I had chocolate milk on the carpet where I wasn't supposed to have it. So he cleans up the milk, you can't tell it was there, and I'm like, oh my god, Douche Canoe Daniel is literally magic, he's a wizard, he's Harry Potter in the flesh. I've never seen anyone clean up chocolate milk with such grace, such poise, such fantastic talent at getting dairy out of a carpet. Wow, Douche Canoe Daniel has a talent, and it should have been telling to me that the only thing he's ever been good at is cleaning up chocolate milk. But whatever, my parents and me, we're just kind of hanging out, and my mom comes in the next day, and she's talking to my dad, and I overhear him, and she's talking about how she can't find her earrings, the earrings that my dad just bought her for their 10-year wedding anniversary, and how she's freaking out, they're tearing the house apart, and they're like, well, maybe it was Daniel. So they call Daniel over, and they don't tell him what they're gonna do. They go into the other room to talk to Daniel's parents about it, because they all came over, because when, you know, your son might have stolen diamond earrings, it's a little important to talk to the parents of the 15-year-old. And he comes over to me, and I'm pretty sure at this point he knew what was coming, because he tells me that if my mom and dad ask what we did, we played Sly Cooper together, and I never left your sight, okay? And I bring up the fact that he had gone to the closet, and he threatens me and basically says that if I tell them that he went into the mom and dad's closet, or my mom and dad's closet, that he's gonna tell them that I spilt chocolate milk all over the carpet and I wasn't supposed to have chocolate milk, and they'd be really mad at me for doing that. And you know, I'm 4, so I'm like, yeah, you're right, dude. They probably would be pissed that I had chocolate milk. Gee, thanks, Douche Canoe Daniel. You're right. I won't tell on you because you won't tell on me. But let me put this in perspective for you, okay? He's blackmailing a 4-year-old. What type of terrible person does this? This guy is basically this teenage Hitler blackmailing a 4-year-old to not snitch on him for stealing his mom's earrings. What a terrible person. So my mom and dad come in and they're like, hey, you know, what's up, Douche Canoe Daniel? Did you take her earrings? You know, be honest with us, we won't be mad. And he goes, no, I spent the whole night hanging out with Ryan. Huh, Ryan? And I said, yeah, Douche Canoe Daniel never left my side because I didn't want to get in trouble for the chocolate milk, right? And when you're 4 years old, you really don't understand the gravity of someone stealing from your parents. You just don't. At least I didn't, okay? I was pretty sheltered as a kid. I didn't really understand what was going on and what I was lying to cover up. So Douche Canoe Daniel isn't in trouble. He gets away with stealing my mom's earrings, and you might be thinking there's no way it can get worse. But trust me, ladies and gentlemen, there is a situation that gets much, much, much worse. So just for the recap, so far, he locked a 4-year-old in the closet, stole the 4-year-old's mom's earrings, and then blackmailed the 4-year-old into lying for him to cover up. So this is the last story I'm gonna do for today's video, but it's probably the longest one. Basically, one night my parents asked Douche Canoe Daniel to come over and stay really late with me. We're talking probably 1:30 in the morning type of flow, you know? Which is pretty late for a babysitter, you know? It is. It's one of those things where, like, yeah, it's probably not fun to sit with a 4-year-old until 1 in the morning, but if you're getting paid to do it and you agreed to do it, you kind of have to. You don't have an option. Like, if you didn't want to babysit till 1 in the morning, don't say yes. But I guess Douche Canoe Daniel never got the memo of how to say no, because basically what happened is around midnight, I'm still awake. He gave me way too much sugar, way too many Otter Pops, way too many chocolate milks, and I'm on a sugar high equivalent to Wiz Khalifa and Bob Marley's high, okay? It is an interesting situation, to say the least. It is out of control. I'm screaming. I'm going crazy. But like I said, my parents aren't home. I'm 4 years old, and let's not forget, guys, he's the babysitter. He's supposed to be in charge of me, the 4-year-old, not intimidated by the 4-year-old that he made sugar high in the first place. But regardless, Douche Canoe Daniel, after making the mistake of getting me sugar high, after getting the mistake of keeping me up super late, it's around midnight. Like I said, my parents will be home around 1:30 in the morning, which is pretty late, I'm not gonna lie. Douche Canoe Daniel just decides to do the following. He says, you know what, man, I'm hungry, get in the car. Keep in mind, Douche Canoe Daniel is 15. My parents took one car, my mom's car was still at home. He goes, grabs the keys, puts 4-year-old me at midnight in the car that he's not legally allowed to drive, that it's not his car, and proceeds to drive with me to his friend's house at midnight. And basically stole my mom's car to do this, by the way. Like, I don't know what the guy was thinking. Legitimately took my mom's car from the house without her permission with a 4-year-old at basically midnight, 1 in the morning, and takes me to his girlfriend's house. They get in the car. He proceeds to tell me to get out, and they make out in the car with me standing on the sidewalk at 1 in the morning in the car he just stole from my garage. Who does that? What a terrible person. And at the time, I really didn't even think it was that big of a deal. So whatever, it gets to be about 1 in the morning. He freaks out, rushes me home, puts me to bed, and says, go to sleep or I'm going to tell your parents you spilled that chocolate milk the last time. I shut up, close my eyes, pretend to be asleep when my parents walk in. He starts talking about how I've been out since 9 p.m., all this stuff, blah, 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 and just doesn't even tell my parents about any of this. First of all, I don't understand how you could possibly want to make out with your girlfriend with a 4-year-old standing on the sidewalk next to you. That doesn't scream romance to me. Like, nothing about that is like, oh man, I'm really in the mood to just really make out with you for a quick minute, you know? That 4-year-old standing next to us, yeah, I'm babysitting him, I'm supposed to be taking care of him, but I'm way more important to make out with you, baby girl. Like, what a weirdo. And the girl, what was she thinking? Oh yeah, perfectly normal to keep a 4-year-old up this late and then lock him outside the car while we make out in his mom's car that he stole from my house. Regardless, he lied to my parents, and I never really told them until I was like in 8th grade and I started realizing how bad of a babysitter he was, because I guess when you're 4, you just don't really think about it. You're just like, oh yeah, this makes perfect sense. This is just how people act, which is just really stupid. I don't know what I was thinking to this day. It was one of my dumbest experiences. So the person who sent me this worked at a summer camp, which I guess like isn't the worst job in the world. You kind of just get to hang out and do dumb stuff with a bunch of kids all day and get paid for it. So it could be worse. But to use his own words here, it was a really white summer club. Not that it matters, okay? It doesn't matter. But, you know, like when you walked on the pool deck for this summer club, it looked like a bunch of marshmallows were deciding to lay on the deck and get fried, all right? This person who sent me this is from North Dakota, which just typically isn't, you know, a very rapper heavy central area. There's not 8 top 10 songs right now being like, hey yo, I represent Southside North Dakota, get some corn and some snow, let's get going. But regardless, this person worked at a, you know, summer camp in North Dakota where most of the kids were named either Graham, Dylan, Chad, or, I don't know, Jake. Let's go with Jake. That's a pretty standard white guy name. I know at least 47 dudes named Jake who really like football and will constantly tell you about why their favorite team is better than yours. So regardless, this person is working at this summer camp, doing their thing, and kids can be interesting to say the least. Sometimes kids are just, for lack of a better word, really dumb. Like, they're not all really dumb, but I think everybody and their mom knows, like, the one kid that eats glue and is just sitting there like, I wanted my computer to go faster, so I ran it over with a car to try to give it car power. Like, everybody knows the one kid that just doesn't, the brain doesn't work right, They don't think things through very well before they do it. They're not very smart. And there was one kid in particular at this summer camp who, for the purpose of this story and on legal purposes, will be named, Jake. We're gonna go with Jake. Yep, we're going with Jake. And Jake was the type of kid who caused trouble. Like, on the first day of this summer camp, right, he decided that he wanted to pierce his lip, he wanted a lip ring, which, I mean, it's not 2006, okay, maybe you want to cut back a little bit, young man. But also, it's not like summer camps really have piercing shops nearby. Like, I've never heard anyone who owns a piercing shop going, oh, I love when it's summertime because all these kids come in and get tons of piercings without parents' permission. Like, there's not really anywhere to get your lip pierced. But this kid, Jake, really wanted to get his lip pierced. Like, really bad. So instead of waiting till he gets home or turning 18, he decided to take a stapler and go into the bathroom and staple his lip. I don't understand what makes you want to do that, but the only reason they found out is because the kid had stapled himself, and if you know how a stapler works, there has to be something behind it. So he had like the stapler in his mouth, the back half of the stapler in his mouth, and had stapled his mouth, and it had gotten like stuck. It didn't go off all the way, so now his skin was being pinched by the stapler. So they walk in, and he's screaming, ow, ow, because I'm sure having your mouth stuck in a metal contraption that's supposed to pierce holes in things probably isn't a very comfortable feeling. Oh, how do I feel about my Tempur-Pedic? It feels a lot like a stapler stuck on my tongue. Like, no one's ever said that before. So whatever, they finally get the stapler out. They're like, what are you doing? And he explains to them, oh, I really wanted to get my lip pierced. And they're like, all right, well, staples isn't the best way to pierce your lip. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, yeah, you're right. He goes, well, how do you pierce stuff? And I don't know why they told him, but one of the older camp counselors was like, well, what they do is they sterilize a needle. I don't really know how they pierce stuff, to be honest. I'm just going off the fact that they told him, and that's how I feel like you would do it. So that's how I'm going to say that you did it. Like, the person who sent me the story didn't say, and then we explained to him from the Wikipedia, subsection 4, paragraph 5, exactly how to pierce a lip. Like, they didn't do that, but I'm assuming that's how you do it, something like that. And what does this kid who has just had a stapler dangling from his lip decide to do? Does he say, hey, wow, I've learned my lesson and will no longer try to pierce myself? No, he grabs a paperclip, goes back into the bathroom, and is trying to stab the paperclip through his lip because, well, it was the most like a needle, and you guys said that's how they do it. What? Dude, 30 seconds ago, you had a stapler in your mouth, and you decided to recommit to the idea. You were like, huh, yeah, that really hurt, but I want to recommit to it, And this doesn't really have a lot to do with, like, the main story, but I'm telling you this to let you know that when it comes to intellect, when it comes to brains, this kid didn't really have a lot, Like, imagine you're an Xbox controller and your batteries die, so you need to go get new ones, and all you have left is triple A's, and somehow you get or rig it to work, but the connection's not very strong. That's just this dude's brain. Like, the batteries just were not working very well. So the next day, the kid comes back and actually has a lip ring. I guess his mom had decided, if my son is stupid enough to try twice with a stapler and a paper clip, maybe it's just time I go get it professionally done, because next thing I know, he's gonna be like convincing the dog to run really fast to run a lip piercing into his mouth. Like, maybe I should just take one for the team, go get it done for him, so at least that way I know it was done professionally and he's not gonna get like chlamydia from this thing in his mouth, like, at least go get it done professionally. And after that, he's relatively normal, I guess. He's a weird kid. They have troubles with him being rambunctious, but you knew that was coming after he tried to staple his mouth closed. But a couple weeks after the lip ring incident, ladies and gentlemen, he comes in talking about how he's going to be a rapper and how he's really been out on the streets with the gang, learning how to really spit the sick rhymes, and he's telling this to all the counselors. And the counselors are looking at him weird because the neighborhood that they're in, where this summer camp is based, definitely is not a place where you can go out on the streets with your paperclip lip ring and learn all about the hustle. You are in North Dakota, bro. The only time people hustle is to their cars to drive further away from North Dakota, dude. And that day they were going on a little field trip thing, and one way or another, rapper boy now, who is now telling everyone that he has the freshest bars this side of the Mississippi, has decided to be like, hey, when we're on this field trip, because they're going on a field trip, it gets put in the group with the person who sent me the story, and he's like, yo, the entire time we're on this field trip, bro, I'm gonna be passing bars to you, man. I'm gonna be passing bars to you, bro. You gotta pass bars back, bro. That's just how you gotta do it, bro. And the person who sent me this story is light skinned, so they're kind of like, this kid normally is talking like, hey guys, G Willikers, welcome to my lip piercing. And all of a sudden there's the only light skinned person in North Dakota in charge of him at a summer camp. And he's like, hey bro, I'm gonna pass the bars to you, bro. What's up, bro? And they were going to a trampoline park, the trampoline park of the century. And the entire bus ride, this kid is sitting there telling the guy who sent me the story, hey man, like I'm better than Eminem, bro. I'm the greatest rapper of all time. And, as much as I am an advocate for following your dreams have to be realistic. If you're so dumb that you try to pierce your lip with a stapler, you're not going to be the world's best anything, okay? Set your bars a little bit lower. It's nothing personal, all right? It really isn't. The second you try to staple a lip ring into your mouth and get hurt and then decide, bruh, didn't learn my lesson, gonna go do it again, you're probably just not gonna be the world's best anything. It's nothing personal. It's okay. You'll be all right. But whatever, the entire bus ride, the kid is like freestyling. I'm doing air quotes right now. You can't see me, but they're definitely there around freestyling. He's like, hey, bruh, call me green eggs and ham because my name is Sam. Just kidding, it is Jake, and I'm chilling by the lake. I make it shake, earthquake. And you're like, oh, all right, Jake, when you said you were the world's best freestyler, you lied, okay? That mug that you bought yourself is not a trophy. Chillax. So whatever, he's doing that the entire time, and he starts telling my friend, he's like, yeah, or not my friend, the guy who sent me the story. I guess we are friends now. We laughed about this story a lot. So we're boys now. We're boys. That's just how it is. You have to deal with it, people. So whatever. He's telling the guy who sent me the story about how, he's so excited for the trampoline park and he can't wait to have such a good time and da-da-da-da-da. And it's weird because, like, even though he's the greatest rapper of all time, he doesn't really want to be, like, too famous, It's just too much for him to deal with sometimes. And the kid, who sent me the story is like, And then the kid decides to say something that gets dramatically out of control to an embarrassing amount. He says, hey, I'm writing a song. Do you mind if I sing it to you? And the kid is just trying to be nice, doing his job, and is like, yeah, sure, go for it, no problem. And homeboy here, Eminem, the man who has been bragging about his rapping prowess, says, and I quote, this bar. I'm not going to say every word that he said, but trust me, you guys, you can probably pick up where this is coming from. Hey, I'm Jake, and I make 8 figures. The man sitting next to me is my... And he did not say hitter. There was a different word that is very, very offensive to say to people, especially when, you're wearing a lip ring in North Dakota, and the person next to you is, like, the only light-skinned person in the town, Probably just not the greatest word to say. And so, obviously, everybody within earshot, and the kid who sent me the story, immediately are like, what did you just say? And he's like, oh, yeah, bro, like, yeah. And he says it again. Not in a rap. He just says it. He goes, that word. And he goes, why did you say that? You can't say that. Like, you're not allowed to say that, dude. That's offensive. And he goes, oh, yeah, well, like, all the rappers are allowed to say it. And they're like, no, rappers are not allowed to say that word if they look like you, Jake. No offense, man. And so the kid who sent me the story tries to be cool and says, hey, it's not a big deal. Like, you didn't know. And he goes, oh, yeah, well, I knew it was offensive, but I just didn't think that, like, people would care. And he says, well, man, like, you just shouldn't say it in the future. And the kid, no joke, looks at the person who sent me the story and goes, oh, well, I don't have to listen to people like you anyways. And my friend's like, what do you mean like you? And he goes, oh, yeah, because you're... And he says the word again, bro. Jake was out here all along. The conniving little turd had decided to, like, pretend that he didn't really know he wasn't allowed to say the word, only to just drop the bomb of the century. And I know what you're thinking. How do you get back at a kid for doing that? I don't know about you. If I was black or light-skinned and a 10-year-old said that to me, I would definitely be fired because that kid would be like going out the window of the bus. But this kid somehow holds it together and gets the better revenge by telling the overall supervisor. Like, I guess they had a manager above them. The kids were in their control, and then there was a manager in charge of the managers. So you guys remember how Jake is hyped for the trampoline park, right? He is ecstatic. Cloud 9. I'm gonna get to go to the trampoline park. I'm gonna get to go to the trampoline park. I'm gonna get to go to the trampoline park. Where after all of this, what the man who sent me the story decides to do, he lets the kid get hyped. He acts like it's no big deal. Obviously, he's offended, but he's gonna get revenge in a different way. So he lets the kid get hyped. He lets them get inside of the trampoline park. He lets this kid get the special socks and the special shoes so he can jump. He does all of this. He lets the kid look at his friends out on the trampoline park, seeing them having all this fun, and then taps the supervisor and goes, "Oh, by the way, this kid did this earlier." And immediately the kid has to take off his shoes and socks and sit on a bench with the supervisor with no technology and watch everybody else have fun in the trampoline park, which might be the best way to just absolutely crush a kid's spirit. Like, oh, you want to throw that around, huh? You want to play that game? Guess what, little Timmy? You can watch all your friends have fun at the trampoline park. I don't even care because you're sitting on the sidelines alone. And I guess to make it even worse, the guy gets to jump with the kids. Like, he gets to, like, have fun, too. So he's on the trampoline, and he kept going over to the kid and being like, "Hey, you okay, dude? Like, cheer up. It'll be okay." Just to let him know that I'm having all this fun, and you don't get to because you're a moron. And, yeah, moral of the story is he is not greater than Eminem, and that's how you don't get to have fun at a trampoline park. So when I was a freshman in high school, I had this teacher named, I'm going to change his name for the purpose of the video, but I'm going to name him Mr. Ballista. Mr. Ballista, you know, an old school Call of Duty sniper rifle. That's what he was named after, you know? And Mr. Ballista was a pretty hard guy. He was near retirement. I'm pretty sure he was a veteran of, like, every single war ever, you know? He was a really old dude, and it was his last few years teaching, which meant he really didn't care, because as a teacher, your retirement's pretty secure, and you can pretty much do whatever you want once you have tenure, and especially since you're going to retire in a year or two, the school won't really fire you or do anything. So he just had the ability to not care about anything. Like, if you were sassy to him, if you were rude to him, he didn't care, because what did he have to lose? Absolutely nothing. Nothing was going to happen. And he made that very clear on the first day of school when somebody was on their phone and he just took their phone, threw it across the room, and told them to go get it. I mean, at least to me, somebody who usually does goof around, it was pretty obvious that this guy did not care and would do absolutely anything to keep his classroom under control. So it was better to just stay out of his way, all right? You know, it's like jumping in front of a freight train. Yeah, you can, but the freight train is still going to run you over and you're going to look like a pancake, so maybe just don't do it. At least that's how I saw it. But I guess some people saw it as a challenge, you know, to like try to challenge the old dude who clearly had no reason to be nice to you, which to me is just dumb. But whatever, kids thought it was really cool to try to get under his skin and see how big of a reaction they could get. And as I mentioned, he didn't care. But in my class, we had a lot of bad actors that really just enjoyed being in trouble for some reason. I don't know about you, but I hated being in trouble in school, okay? I was in trouble a lot because I'm just a bad kid, or I was a bad kid, but I hated being in trouble at school because it was so awkward. You had to go sit in the cold office. Your nipples would be hard enough to cut diamonds because it's so cold in there. Not fun. Not a fun experience. But I guess some kids were weirdly into it. Now, one of these kids, who I'm going to call Hokage, because he is the next Hokage, he was a weeaboo, that's all you need to know, decided that it was his mission in life to try to get Mr. Ballista to freak out and have a panic attack and just absolutely go off on him. Why that was his goal, I have no idea, but that was the plan. He was talking every day about how he had a new way to make him mad and all this stuff, and he was a bad guy. Just to clarify, me and Mr. Hokage, or the kid Hokage, did not get along. I really did not like this kid, mainly because he was just a bad person. And not a bad person in the, oh, you're a teenager and you make mistakes kind of way, but in the type of way where you just knew this kid was gonna end up in prison 3 years after high school. This kid was constantly just stealing things and getting in fights and, like, biting people, you know, when a 16-year-old, 14-year-old, I don't know how old he is, I don't really care, is biting people, you probably got some messed up issues. Yeah, and this kid was one of those people. So whenever he was flexing about the fact that he was going to make the teacher mad at him, I would just kind of roll my eyes and be like, yeah, I would be mad too. I mean, your parents are disappointed in you. I don't know why a teacher wouldn't be either. But whatever, this was Hokage's new life mission to piss off Mr. Ballista and make him freak out. So in order to do this, Hokage starts digging into Mr. Ballista's personal life. And this is just a no-no. Never dig into somebody's personal life, okay? It's personal for a reason. You don't need to know your teacher's favorite flavor of coffee in order to understand that they're teaching you history, all right? It's just not necessary. But whatever, he just was really into learning everything he could about Mr. Ballista in order to get under his skin better. And something he found out was that Mr. Ballista's wife had cancer. And listen, I got along pretty well with Mr. Ballista. I really appreciate people who are straight up and honest and strict, and he was really forward about the rules. He was really honest about what you could do to stay out of trouble, so I had no problem staying out of trouble in his class. But Hokage just wouldn't listen, and when he found out that his wife had cancer, he proceeded to tell the entire class about it. which is just not cool. You don't need to do that. Like, clearly Mr. Ballista is struggling with some issues over here, and you broadcasting it to the class with a megaphone being like, by the way, his wife has cancer, just makes you look like a horrible person. So, of course, Mr. Ballista gets mad at this and basically tells him to go to the dean's office and reports him to the dean and goes, look, he's telling kids in my class that my wife has cancer. I don't need to deal with this. I come to school to not have to think about it, and now everyone's talking about it. Everyone's being nice to me. He's like, I don't want pity. I don't want sympathy. I just want to teach my class. I don't want this kid going around telling people my personal business. I just don't. That's not what I want. Fair enough, Mr. Ballista. I don't blame you, man. Hokage is a bit of a tool for leaking the fact that your wife has cancer to the class. So the next few weeks go pretty normally. Everything kind of calms down. You can tell Mr. Ballista has a strong hatred for Hokage. But not much he can really do. The school has denied his request to get him moved out of the class, which is just dumb. If you have a kid basically doxing the teacher and leaking personal information, it's probably a good idea to just put them in a new class and make sure they don't get along. And, especially with a teacher like Mr. Ballista, who does not care and has nothing to lose at this point, it's a really good idea to make sure that these two people stay apart. And then, the moment you've all been waiting for. One day, we're sitting in class. I don't remember what we're learning about, but I guess Hokage just wasn't having it. And he goes, when are we going to use this in real life? Which was just, I get the question, I understand the premise, but the way he said it is what was rude. And Mr. Ballista goes, well, to be honest, you'll probably never use it in your life because you're going to end up working at McDonald's. Which is pretty savage and true. I don't know where Hokage is, probably in prison or at a McDonald's, one of the two. And I guess this really set Hokage off because the entire class laughs. Because how are you not going to laugh at a teacher just roasting this kid who's clearly not a good person in front of everybody? It's just a funny experience to watch, right? And I guess this set Hokage off in a way that he had never been set off before because he looks Mr. Ballista in the eye and says, well, at least my wife doesn't have cancer. And I do not understand how you can say that to another human being. Like, imagine finding out that somebody's wife has a disease that kills millions of people every year and then using it in an argument when he says you're gonna work at McDonald's. You're gonna work at McDonald's. Yeah, well, at least my mom's not in a wheelchair. Like, that's the level of terrible person we are reaching here. You just shouldn't be able to say that to another human being unless you're actually a sociopath like a Shane Dawson documentary, right? And the entire class just opens their jaws and it's just silent. You know the type of silence where you can cut the silence with a knife because it's so thick and everybody is just sitting there like, oh my God, he actually just said that. I cannot believe that these words actually came out of another human being's mouth. Yeah, that's the reaction that all of us had because we just witnessed Mr. Potato Head, Hokage over here, tell a teacher that at least my wife doesn't have cancer. And I'm just sitting here flabbergasted, waiting for the response that I'm assuming is going to be pure rage and a desk thrown through this kid's skull. And Mr. Ballista furrows his brow and goes, what did you just say? And he goes, at least my wife doesn't have cancer. And at this moment, I'm getting ready to have to hold back Mr. Ballista because I'd want to kill this kid if I was in his position. And he looks at him and he goes, son, you are by far the most disrespectful degenerate I have ever had in my classroom, and I feel bad for the fact that the only way you're ever going to see anyone who loves you is behind prison bars. And turns back around. I don't know how the stoic Mr. Ballista handled this situation like a god, but here we are, no fisticuffs being thrown, and he just blasted the kid even harder. You know when, like, you're trying to make someone mad, and you're trying to, get under their skin, and they kind of hit you with the, sorry, you're kind of pathetic, I'm not gonna fall for it, and your ego's just crushed? That's the situation we have here. Except Hokage isn't going to take no for an answer because now he looks like an absolute jerk for no reason in front of the entire class, and he can't have that. So he goes, oh yeah, you old man, you won't fight me, blah, 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 blah. And Mr. Ballista goes, you're right, I'm not going to fight you because you're pathetic. You're a pathetic child. You're a pathetic child, and I'm sorry that your parents don't give you enough attention at home. And the entire class at this point is like, oh my God, he's actually flaming this kid. Like, imagine you're trying to be a savage, getting a guy to fight you, making fun of his wife having cancer, and all he's doing is calling you pathetic. That's gotta hurt the ego, folks. This is what's gonna annoy this kid. And plus, Hokage is one of these kids that thrives off attention. So the fact that he's getting none of it, all he's getting is roasted and being made fun of in front of everybody, is just driving him up the wall. So he gets up in Mr. Ballista's face and goes, yeah, well, give me one reason I shouldn't knock you out right now. And Mr. Ballista goes, because you can't. And he pulls back to hit the teacher. And at this point, like 5 guys are getting up to go pull him apart. And he swings at the teacher. Mr. Ballista somehow moves out of the way of the punch and goes, and you just got yourself expelled, buddy. And everybody like grabs Hokage, pulls him out of the class towards the office. We get him in the dean's office, tell him everything that happened. They actually call the school police because it was technically like assault. I don't understand what happened there because he didn't hit him. But the school police get involved. They're basically like taking this kid to juvie for trying to assault a teacher. And Mr. Ballista during this whole situation, cool as a cucumber. You could tell the cancer comments did bother him, but I mean, who wouldn't be bothered by that? Like, what a terrible kid for making fun of that. So, yeah, Hokage got expelled for trying to assault a teacher, and I really hope he's in prison somewhere, because anybody willing to make fun of a wife having cancer isn't a really good person. Just throwing that out there. Definitely not the best type. You know, whatever. I'm not saying you can never make a cancer joke, because sometimes they can be pretty funny, but you don't look someone in the eyes whose wife has cancer and make fun of the fact that their wife has cancer. That's how you know you're just an absolutely terrible human being. And I really am glad he got expelled. Karma did its job. That's the key here. I'm really thankful that Karma came in, punched this kid in the throat, and I gave him what he just deserved. You know, it was just desserts. On that note, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought. If you liked the video, if you didn't like the video, I'd love to hear what you think. I know this was a pretty long story. I just remember it really, really vividly because it's one of the worst things I think I've ever seen a human being do to another human being. So it's just kind of lodged in my memory like a pitchfork lodged into the side of the frontal lobe of an Amish boy in a farming accident.